Happy Friday! Welcome to our Friday Witchy Hangout. We do this every single Friday where we blend our energies together no matter where we are in the world. We ask Spirit a juicy question, and we usually have a pretty good time doing it, although we experience a full range of emotions here. And today we have a lovely, juicy question of how do they think that you see them? So sometimes my brain gets confused with these kinds of ones, but we're just going to go with it. How do they think that you are viewing them? So everybody's being so pleasant in the chat. We've got Indigo Phoenix joining us. They're usually at the gym, and Dove is joining us too. And anyways, I just am excited that we're going on this adventure together today. So without further ado, we've got 3 piles, but we also do have an anchor card. So the anchor card is not one of the choices for the piles, but it's just like a joint energy, not a joint energy. It's like the base energy for this reading, and like it goes a little bit into all of the piles. And I feel like we read the cards together where I'm picking up on kind of more general messages, but you might also pick up intuitive things for yourself too. So take a good look, take a gander, if you will, at that card, the Faultline. Take a gander over yonder. And just allow it to speak to you if anything's like standing out to you, or if you remember the card at any point during one of the readings. That's all stuff to kind of pay attention to. So that is the Faultline. And then we will move into the 3 piles. And so we've got pile number 1. Oops, no. Pile number 1, that is the hunter. Pile number 2, that is the healer. And pile number 3, that is the stone. Oh. I'll put those up there. And you can do whatever you usually do with this. If you haven't already selected your pile, even if you have, this is the point in the live stream where we just like to kind of ground down, connect in, break all the rules of the internet, and go completely silent. So I like to put my hands over my heart, close my eyes, turn the gaze inwards. If you're on Patreon, you might have gotten why I laughed just there. But yeah, and then just allow your consciousness to kind of just settle, and for your attention to pull away from that 3D world and the things like, you know, what bills you have to pay, and if you have to get gas tomorrow, or what you're making for lunch, the grocery list, like, you know, all that stuff, and just allow yourself to connect with a part of you that is that constant silent observer. And whenever you're ready, you can come back to the surface. You can surface yourself like a dolphin and join us again in the land of the living. I don't know if you heard my cat drinking there. I wasn't the most focused I could have been during that. All right, so if you want to take one last look at the piles, be drawn into whatever pile or multiple piles. This person can have a lot of thoughts about the way that you think about them. Just allow yourself to be drawn in. I always like to set the intention for myself that anything can be a message during the live streams, so long as that's not something that makes you like a paranoid person or like more confused, if that's something that works for you. And so that could mean the way that you get drawn into the piles might show you how your intuition is working, or like if you get drawn into like these 2 end piles, but really your pile's the middle one, like what might that say to you about that situation? So anyways, just something to kind of consider, unless you're like, no, that's going to frazzle me out, or I'm going to get more confused or more paranoid, then that might not be something that works for you. Because this, to me, it's about self. That's what I think pick-a-cards and doing general readings actually assists us in doing spiritually, is kind of following our own intuition. Whereas like if you get a personal reading or something, and it is just kind of tailored to you specifically, but this is like, there's a bigger spiritual process that I think is kind of going on that's good for all of us to kind of take part in, that has to do with energy and like the flow of our intuition and learning how to kind of tap in and how to tap in with that. And I think that's a reward like in and of itself. So Without further ado, oh, interesting. The Lightheart Alchemist just said, I started doing it because it felt natural, but my left hand goes over my heart and my right hand goes over my solar plexus. Huh. That feels really like comforting. Okay, so if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's do pile number 1. How do they think? I just heard country roads take me home. This also, I forgot to mention this, but we have lovingly called this card the boob card. And so there could be something here about boobs. So we'll let that be there. Okay, so Spirit, how does pile number 1 person think they, oh my gosh, ain't shit just came out at the bottom of the deck. Maybe marrying for money, giving money. Okay, so there's definitely something here to do with money. Oh, giving money. Okay, I'm going to leave that there for a second and cross over here. How does pile number 1's person think that they see them? Okay, I think this is somebody that you've drawn a boundary with. Destroyer, Shiva Destroyer. So something could have like gone wrong here. Maybe this person thinks that you see them as like trying to destroy your, like with the sun, it could be like your happiness, your ability to see straight, maybe even like your health, your mental health or something. This person does not think that you see them very highly. And like with the fault line coming through over here and ain't shit, both of these are like black and white kind of cards. So this person, I actually think this person has a very black and white perception, like of the world, of your situation, very kind of two-dimensional, like good, bad, you know, things like that. But I think that, yeah, there's some kind of like fault, like divisional line, like they're at fault for something, for some kind of like destructive, messy ending, and that they have like they're in this dark horse energy, that they are in this like bad kind of like behavior. Some of these people, if they do have some sense of like spirituality, I'm just getting with the horse here, because the horse yonis in Vedic astrology, they're seen as like doing the Lord's work upon the earth. But like Ashwini, for instance, it's the twins, and one brings the dawn and the other brings the dusk. They think that you see them maybe as a twin, like maybe as some kind of if it's not like a romantic kind of twin flame thing, then it's like some kind of counterbalancing force where like the two of you are like very polar opposites. This could be like even like enemies like Coyote and Roadrunner, you know, or Tom and Jerry, you know, that they're just kind of constantly chasing each other. But this, they think that you see them as like the person who brings in the dusk, you know, somebody who is like in this dark horse energy. So even though they've done something dark, maybe it like sparked some aspect of your growth. Because again, I think that you've gotten away from this person, you've put up some kind of boundaries, and you're like happy, or you're healing, or something here like that. Maybe this person feels like they owe you money, or the forcer card just came out under that. So forces things on you, forces their way in, uses force to get what they want. So maybe they think that you think that they're giving you money in order to force their way in order to get something, like to bait you into something. I don't know. And then crying over you. I think they feel like maybe they made you cry, but now you've closed the door on them, and you're doing much better. I think, yeah, they think that you view them as a person that made you cry because they're in some like their shadow. They're like this dark horse energy, which dark horse to me, doesn't it sound like something that sneaks up on you? Isn't that what that term means, like the metaphor? Because it's running at you in this like dark horse energy. That's, yeah, maybe you feel kind of like trampled by this person, or you were like trampled by them or their energy in the past, that there's a lot that they like hid from you. And we have Odin at the bottom of the deck. Oh, okay. So, and then discovery. So you've had to like discover some kind of, maybe through like guidance. So maybe you've discovered tarot, or you've discovered your own intuition, and like that you can trust it and stuff. Like you've discovered maybe even like your divine masculine or something, like because of this person, because they kind of like split you away, because Odin is very divine masculine energy, where he's strong, he's like a king, he's a leader. He also like channeled the runes, you know, he has that like very kind of psychic, and it's associated with like battle, you know, to me, like, okay, how can we not in a violent way, but just in like strategy kind of way. Like he's somebody that could lead you into a difficult situation. So maybe you found somebody or something like that through this person. So, and maybe that's this person that has like a lot of compassion. They do think that you have a lot of compassion for them. But this is, oh my gosh, me and my husband were talking about pity yesterday. And he talks to me about this sometimes, about like the Tolkien version of pity. And I feel like that's, to me, I think I would use the word sympathy for that. But there's this kind of like, okay, well, I have pity upon you, but it's like I take pity upon you. Like it's more associated with like your actions. So it could be that, oh, maybe that you've given them money because you take this kind of pity on them in some way, or you've given them something of value because you have this like Tolkien version of pity. And I didn't quite finish what that is, but it's like, the way that he describes it is that it's like compassion, but that it's a necessary force like in the world and in like the Tolkien books, which Tolkien wrote Lord of the Rings. So like Frodo takes pity upon Gollum, you know, that like little creature. And that's ultimately, he acts upon that pity and saves Gollum's life. And even though Gollum like betrays him in the end, fights him in the end, bites off his finger in the end, when you look at the story, the overall energies and the way that things were flowing, that kind of like maybe was the best way that could have happened, because no mortal, and Frodo, even though he's a hobbit, he's immortal, no mortal could take the ring of power. And I think this, I don't know, this person's kind of coming across as like seeking out the ring of power kind of thing. But that ring, no mortal could take the ring of power and destroy it in Mordor. No mortal could take it all the way there. And Frodo got as close as any mortal possibly could, but he maybe wouldn't have thrown the ring in there if Gollum hadn't attacked him. So he either wouldn't have done it at all, or Sam, his best friend, his BFF, would have had to shove him in the mountain and probably never gotten over that. So it plays its part like in the story. And maybe you took pity upon this person and you like gave them something, or you like let them in close, and then you ended up like regretting that, you know, and crying like that over this person. But I think this person's also like watching you, but they can only see through like a keyhole. They can only see through like a peephole. And what do they think about that? Obstacles. They think about the obstacles in this situation and like why the obstacle is like there, so that you can grow in your strength. And for some, I think these people think that you view them as an obstacle that you had to get through, like as a karmic, basically, as an obstacle that you had to get through in order to like build your strength up, like a temptation that you had to overcome. Yeah, and like with this siren energy too, like see that big monster in the background? Because that's a siren, right? It like seems very alluring, and then you get drawn in, and then there's like the monster in the background. So that's the way that this person views you, and that maybe that they shapeshift. And I think that they also view like that you've had to learn how to shapeshift, because Cernunnos is not really a bad energy to me. It's very like shamanic. It's very healthy, masculine. This is like the doing of the animal dances like before the hunt. And I think that maybe this person feels like you view them as somebody who disguises themselves to get up close to their prey. And the word prey is really coming through. Prey. So yeah, I just heard eat, pray, love. So like somebody that maybe preys upon empaths, or people that are praying kind of like in their energy, people who are softer in their energy, or they're trying to overcome like their shadow side natures. This person views you very highly though, as like very noble, and has like, I just heard having learned better. This person maybe thinks that you see them as like releasing you in a harsh way, but I think like a lot of you had to release this person in a harsh way. Yeah, they think that you feel they have bad behavior, which I've read your cards. I know that's true for a fact for some of you, that you don't think highly of this person. You also feel like there's something that they haven't filled in. Like there's blanks here that they have not filled in, at least like in a way that's satisfactory. And I think maybe you feel that this person plays games with their communication. That's another thing. Like even with texting, especially, you feel that they play games with their texting, and that there's big gaps. So it could be there's big gaps in time where it's like you ask them like a certain question, but then there's a weird like gap in time between like text messages or between them communicating with you or something. You know that this person needs to fill in certain things, and you want them to fill it in with like a color so that you can have more information. I think this person thinks that you see them as somebody who intentionally like withholds color from you. So that could be like emotion, that could be but it's something distinctive. something that would tell you what it is, or tell you what like the feeling is, or something that you see them as somebody who intentionally withholds that. This person, I think, thinks that you see them as a distraction, or that they were distracted. That they just weren't really paying attention to you. Because it says kept you waiting here, always busy, temptation. Like this person falls in for temptation. There's something here really like with the phone and with so maybe like, oh no, that's just a friend. Like I'm just texting this person, just a friend, but you know that there's something else. Like this person a lot, I feel like maybe on their phone, this person plays games like with communication with you, but also like maybe even toying with like other people. And you're sick and tired of it. You're sick and tired of this, the cycles. You're over it, and a decision is made. So this person, I feel like you are the type of person, or you got to a point with this person where you don't want to go round and round anymore. So you made some kind of firm decision. You set up some kind of firm boundary. And that could even be with text messages. It even could be if you have to text back and forth with this person that you don't give anything away now. Now all of a sudden you're matching energy and you're not giving them the color. You're not giving them, or there's like maybe long periods of gap between like when you text this person back because you're over it. And this person has noticed a change in your behavior where like you are over it because you want to be happy, and you don't feel like if this person is part of your life that you are not going to be happy. Fighting. This person feels like you are fighting. Trust issues, one-sided and detached. I think that this person could have tried to blame certain things on you. I don't think it's true or correct. I think it's like kind of deflection. Yeah, you're sick and tired of it. I think their way of blaming things on you is like, oh, well, we both have problems. But I feel like this person is like, they're in some messed up energy. They're in some like, maybe, I mean, we've been reading this, like the why does he do that inside the minds of angry and controlling men. And it outlines like that abusive mindset. So this person can have that abusive mindset. And if somebody's in that energy, you don't have a relationship problem. You have the abuser is the problem. So you're never going to solve your problems in a relationship with somebody like that who's in that energy, because the source of the problem is that they're abusive. They have an abusive mindset. And so the way that they engage in relationship is extremely tactical. Very, for those of you that are on Patreon, I shared an interview that I watched with Lundy Bancroft. It's not like hidden on the internet or something. It's the first one that like comes up whenever weirdly it's in black and white. Like that's just the style of it. But he was talking about there's more like the method to the madness when it comes to abuse, and that that's the thing that he's trying to highlight, is that there's more method than madness. They want you to think it's just madness, and then it's this like emotional volatility, and that they have an anger problem, or that they have some kind of personality disorder. And he said it presents oftentimes as a personality disorder, which I've picked up on this channel. I'm like, I don't know, this seems like maybe it's like cluster B or something, but it's not. An abusive mindset is not a personality disorder. It's actually very calculated. They make a decision to act fucked up to you because they think that it gives them power or control, and that they get away from it. And that's how they think that you view them, is somebody that plays games. I just heard like dalliance. So this person, maybe you felt like you were a dalliance, or that they just only wanted a dalliance with you, and this person was actually playing games and they wanted something more with you. But it also could be they think that you think they're a person who has dalliances, with other people in order to try and like make you feel like you ain't shit. And in order for them to like avoid their emotions or anything, I kind of feel like this person's over themselves, to be honest. They know they're sick and tired of it too. And they want in, but they're also not in some healthy energy here as well. They may want to Trojan horse you is what I'm getting. So just be aware of that. Like, I'm kind of just getting that like, oh, I have like money. It doesn't have to be a lot. It's like, let me buy you a coffee or something. Like they're trying to kind of force their way in, but this person kind of has to do the healing work, and they know that you're not settling. But yeah, they think that you are fighting because there's trust issues. I'm really getting that one very strong. But the one-sided thing, it's like, I think that this person wants to like at first, or like before you kind of cottoned on to a lot about what they were doing, I think they wanted to be like, oh, this is a one-sided issue. Only you have a problem of fighting. Why? This is the kind of person that is abusive, okay? And then when you draw a boundary, they view that as violence, and they're like, oh, you're not pouring. This is the person who would tell the therapist like, well, I'm the one trying. You're not pouring into the relationship the way that I'm pouring into the relationship. And you're like, yeah, that isn't true. That's a misrepresentation of the fact that you've abused me forever, and I got sick of your shit. I put up a boundary, and I no longer want to invest in this. I don't trust you enough to have conversations or a flow of energy back and forth between the two of us, because whenever I do, you Trojan horse me. And I think, oh, this is a gift. This is also maybe a person who gives like guilt gifts. Some of you have a PTSD response to receiving gifts. I just got that very strongly where you're like, what did you do? Like, you know, like this person will try to give you something when they've done something like messed up because they think that repairs it. That's another thing that I saw from Lundy Bancroft where he was saying, or no, maybe it wasn't him. No, it was Dr. K on YouTube, Harvard educated psychologist who also spent time like meditating with gurus in India and stuff. He's very well rounded in my opinion, but he was talking about the hidden danger of making up for it. Like when you do something messed up, because if you believe that you can ever truly make up for it, there's like this hidden insidious belief of like, oh, well, I can just keep doing a bad thing and then like I'll make up for it. And I feel like this person does have that mindset where in reality, you can't really make up for the messed up stuff that you did. You should try to like make amends, you know, and try to make somebody feel comfortable and like repair the relationship in the sense of like making it safe. But if you're truly doing that, then you're getting to the root of why you did something. This is very much a symptom oriented person. And I think they want your relationship to be a symptom oriented relationship where you don't talk about anything deeper than the symptoms of, you know, because then they can control you, because the root of it is really, I just heard maybe like their anger, I think. But then it was like they don't really have anger like issues. This is, or it's like buried, it's like self-anger. But they want you to think that it's just this volatile like anger or something. Oh, the symptom. They want you to focus on the symptom of like the anger when it's really this abusive mindset and their entitlements. Lundy Bancroft really always goes back to it's not an emotional wound. It is their entitlements. This person feels entitled to do certain things and to keep you running around chasing your tail and all confused and discombobulated. And so this person really wants that. And they want to suck you back into it by saying, oh, this is one-sided. You're the only one that has a problem here, not me. I'm trying. So we should try in the relationship together. When in reality, this person's an abuser and they kind of need to be away from people because this person is like, I'll grind your bones to make my bread. Like this is a meat grinder for human beings. This person is, because they just, the way that they're oriented in their mind. And, you know, Lundy Bancroft says that, you know, it's so hard for abusers to reform themselves because a lot of them have, this starts in the teenage years when they get around fucked up, usually it's men because he studies men abusing women. They get around fucked up little boys that have fucked up views about women and, oh, we're going to use women and, oh, we're going to this and, oh, we're going to that. And they think that's funny and they think that's cool. And so by the time they kind of come around in their adult years, sometimes this has gone on for 10, 20, 30 years and it's like deeply ingrained, and it's so hard to overcome that because you need the messaging of this is fucked up and it is the problem. You are the problem. Like this is negative behavior that you have been engaging in. This is not right. It's also not cool. So but you need that to come from all sides. You need them to find a different friend group. He said it's similar to an alcoholic. They can't hang out with like the same people because it's just reinforcing that. You need their family to stand up to them, which a lot of times they don't. And they just kind of reinforce that because usually this is like a family curse. This is, you know, a systemic issue. And so this person doesn't necessarily want to see that, but I think they think that if they don't know the specific views that you have on those things, they know that you have a differing view to the one-sided nature of this relationship, because in reality, I feel like this was the relationship was one-sided, where you were the only one being genuine. You were the only one being honest. You were the only one being loyal. You were the only one being upright in character and bringing something of value to the relationship, possibly even money. You were the only one doing that. And this person was trying to like force their way in by talking the relationship talk, or by giving you like, I just heard an explanation that you wanted to hear, or like, it's about like, well, why don't you be balanced? But what they really mean is that you need to give me leniency. You need to like excuse my behaviors. I don't ever need to get to the root of my behaviors. Whereas you're the type of person to get to the root of your behaviors. So it's not ever equal. And that's what Lundy Bancroft says is like, abusers don't say this, but really they want a relationship that's not equal. They want it over time to go more and more like this. Because in the beginning, they'll make you all kind of promises. And they'll say, well, I'm going to give you this, and that you're going to give me this, and then it's going to be balanced. But then over time, their side of it just goes away. And they'll just hope that you don't notice that. Childish, immature, argumentative, and playing the victim. This is how they think that you see them. And for some of you, there might be a child involved here, but you feel like you have two children. You know, or just add a child to like however many children that you have, like, because this person is immature. I think this person, if there are children involved here, this person thinks you have worries about the habits that a child would pick up around this person, like their social habits, the way that they communicate in relationships, the way that they model relationships, and how I just heard, when a man loves a woman, he takes advantage of her all the time. Like, that's what you feel like your kids are going to like learn from this person. You don't want them to see, you know, mommy being treated that way by daddy, or like daddy treating the barista that way, or like, you know, whatever's going on. Yeah. Avoidance and hiding, feeling guilty, and no communication. I don't know, this person is really feeling guilty. I feel like they're feeling put out. But I think they do kind of think that you feel that they're feeling guilty. But in reality, what is it? In reality, Netflix and chill. In reality, I think they're actually sneaking around. Friends with benefits, spending time with someone else. In reality, they're spending time with someone else, but they think that you think that they're guilty. Clock that. Clock that. Envy, hater, spiteful, and jealous. They could be hanging out with a hater. Somebody that hates you. Good Lord. So this person is a rotten egg. Like, the audacity of this person. Because that's gaslighting. That's what they're doing. They're gaslighting you because they're like, you don't pour in enough to this relationship. Why don't you take me back? Meanwhile, they're sneaking around with one of your haters. Ugh. In order to try to make you jealous. I think it's in order to try to make you jealous. This person is immature. Pop up, surprise visit, reaching out in person. They want to pop up on you. So maybe they think that you think that they want to pop up on you, which is possibly why like you have your boundaries set the way that you do. Spiritual attack, karma, divine intervention, and facing their demons. It could have been that some type of pop-up visit. They feel like, I don't know, is a spiritual. Oh, and then, okay, some kind of pop-up visit. Half-truth plus half-truth is a lie. So it could have been, I don't know if this was them that popped up somewhere or if it was an ex or something, but they think it's a spiritual. I think they think it's a spiritual attack to where now they have to face their demons. And facing their demons is being like clocked out from you. But this is a very selfish person, and they really just like synthesize things through what they have lost. Kind of like a child. I'm literally seeing a child sucking its thumb. Pop-up, surprise visit, reaching out in person. Oh, maybe they sent somebody towards you, to a hater, to pop up on you. Rock bottom. Karma, jail, legal issues, life falling apart. Be very careful because this person could just be sleeping with like other people or something, and then these people are pretending to be friends to your face, and they're like, would you mind taking so-and-so back because he's just at rock bottom. He needs you to go bail him out of jail. And you're like, no. No. Like, they're trying to get you to feel like sorry for them. But meanwhile, you don't know that this is like your hater. This person's envious. This person's like sleeping. For some, I think they might be the same gender. But you don't realize maybe that that's what's going on. But there's a lot of mischievous. Mischievous to me sometimes is a fun word. It's a word that I can associate with like the Fae. This is haterade. Go get some haterade. Get your thirst quenched. Yeah, unfaithful, love triangle, ex in question. So there's an ex in question here. Yeah, Netflix and chill. They this like third party, this triangulation, this person, they have muddled and confused thoughts about that. It's like they conveniently want to cut out the fact that you know something here about this friend. They want to act like you don't know, and therefore, but this is the kind of person that would be like, well, you don't know, so you don't have any reason to be mad. Like, she doesn't, yeah, I am cheating on her, but she doesn't know that, so she doesn't have any reason to be mad. And it's like, do you really think that she doesn't know that if she's mad at you? Is that what you really think? This person wants to conveniently drop out certain things to make you the bad guy or to make you seem unreasonable. This is a gaslighter. This is truly an abuser. And they'll make you doubt like your own sense of reality here. But you know that this person's involved with this person. I feel like you know. I feel like it might be known that this is what's going on. And I think you actually have more allies than this person quite realizes. Or you're just more intuitive. Or I think that it's been confirmed for you already. And maybe you're just not letting on to this person that you know what you know because you are genuinely sick and tired of it. And you don't want to hear this person's mouth. I think for some of you think this person's real slick in their communication. I think this person really is in rock bottom. Karma, jail, legal issues, life falling apart. I feel like they are living in some kind of smaller confined space. I mean, for some of you, maybe this person is in jail. Maybe they've been found out is what I'm getting by somebody else. I mean, I think they feel that way about you and they're like closed off. But I feel like this person's like, I'm just seeing the walls closing in on this person in some kind of way. Because this is an issue with spirit. This is so much bigger than you. This is about the way this person treats people. They have bad karmas because this is how they treat people, like multiple people. They have this, like, these senses of entitlement. They treat people. I heard they treat people like luggage, which to me, it's like they treat people badly, but they use people in this way that I don't understand to hold their baggage or like to hold their stuff. So it could be that this person, for some of this could be like homosexual territory where they're like squirreling away some of their stuff, like kind of around. They like kind of have different places that they like, their little haunts that they, kind of go to. But I feel like they're even sick and tired of that. This person's sick and tired of themselves and they're sick and tired of the way they're living. But I feel like they don't know what else to do. And I think that actually they want to be with you. Like, but they've hurt you too much. Crying, depressed, pain, and sorrow. And this person has to address their pain and sorrow. Huh? No. Oh. This person has to address their own pain and sorrow in order for them to break this cycle, but they don't want to do that. I feel like this person really doesn't want to lift the lid on their shadow side. And you probably already know that, which is probably why you've gotten away from this person. Yeah, self-love. They think that you have self-love, loving you, taking back control. That's the one that's really standing out to me. Taking back control. And this person is left with unfinished business. Proposal, forgiveness, reconciliation. Be very careful if this person wants to propose to you out of nowhere because they haven't done the healing work. And I think this person they're looking for any just like paintbrush to just like paint over whatever they did because they want it like all to go away and to like start over. But the thing is, even if you start like fresh, start from scratch with this person, it's just going to replay over again because the root, the poison root, like in themselves, they got to get to that root. And I think they want to just keep focusing on the symptom. I think this person may well be having a symptom and it could be something like, I don't know, digestive issues or like, it doesn't have to be like something big. But they just want to only focus on the symptom instead of like focusing on the root. Spirit's trying to get that message across. You have to get to the bottom of it in order to uproot, pull something up at the root. Yeah. With this pop-up that keeps coming out, I feel like reaching out and in person, it's like go in person to like a therapist, if you're really truly sick of it, like some kind of cycle, and don't lie to a therapist. Like, I feel like there's certain stipulations that spirit has put upon this person. Because I feel like this person likes to play games and they're all about their facade. And I feel like this might even be with like a therapist or somebody that's there to help them. And even though there's like laws, where your therapist can't just go blabbing around about like everything that you tell them, it's private, it's contained. People really do need that. So, I mean, and that's, here in America, you can't be a threat to yourself or other people. Like your therapist by law has to report that. But like, anything else, it's like private between the two of you where you're free to say the embarrassing stuff to someone who's trained about like getting their personal self out of the way in order to assist you. And I feel like this person needs to find somebody. And I think trust is an issue for this person actually, because they've been so rotten. They don't trust people. They've been so two-faced and so rotten and so strategic that they can't trust that other people aren't doing that too. This person's also very emotionally unavailable and they're around other people who are emotionally unavailable. That's why I feel therapy really for this person, really genuinely therapy, not friends. I know some people say that, well, sometimes not, this person's friends are rotten and they're half the reason and they have to keep up this facade. I feel like this person needs the cocoon. They need the space. They need a professional. And not all therapists are created equal. Sometimes therapists are very messed up, so you have to vet your therapist. But like, I feel like this person, weirdly, karmically, I feel like they need to like give money over to like a therapist to help them, instead of forcing their way in. This is for some reason like necessary. It's a part of like flipping over their karma. They need to show that they need to switch over. And I just heard nervous system as well. So like switching over to, I can't remember like the difference right off the dome right now, but like parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. I think it's parasympathetic that's like much calmer, and you're supposed to spiritually, like you learn how to operate from that where you're not all keyed up all the time. This person's keyed up all the time. They're always agitated, and that's why they always bring this agitation into your life. And they think that you see them as somebody brings this like agitation into your life, and that you have a beautiful way about you and your healing, and you framed that for yourself in terms of, oh, well, this is helpful for me, but I'm going to look at it. I'm going to look at it for exactly what it is. It's unpleasant, and I'm over it. I'm sick of it. Yeah, and I have to release it. I have to let it go. And I have to get in touch with my anger too. Like for a lot of you, not your violence, because this is a person who would conflate anger and violence. And the other thing that Lundy Bancroft said in that interview was something like, America is a very violent culture, to the point where we don't call a lot of things violence that actually are violence. And so we can't really sort through all of that. But I feel like this person operates from a place that's actually truly very violent. And yeah. And he describes in that interview too something where he classifies a lot of things that are verbal as physical abuse, because they're meant to put you in a place of physical terror. The things that they say are meant to put you in a place of like feeling physically like threatened and like keyed up. And so he classifies that as physical abuse because it's like a way to strike somebody without ever striking them, And I feel like this person maybe has a tendency of like doing that pattern, but just the right words are never used. This person, it's like there's a weird game of like just the right words are never used to call out this person about how extreme their behavior truly is. Because they like to hide under like, well, it was just an argument that we had, when it's abuse. And that's different. An argument that two people are having, there's a different approach to that. There's a different solution. And I think you had to learn this because you were like, yeah, it was an argument because there was yelling and there was, he smashed some things and like, yeah, I get that wasn't. Were you being attacked or was it an argument? Like, there's a difference there, and it might be a slight difference, and you might feel gaslit and not hurt, especially if it was private. But this is the kind of thing, like the cover, where this kind of person, this abuser mentality thrives in this kind of thing. And I feel like you had to leave, or you had to just air it out, like put the light on it, and they're recognizing that. They could even think that you're paying money for like therapy or something that's actually helping you. And also like preventing them from getting in. So that could even be like, for some of you, like a security system or something. They think that you're hustling. They think that you're just living very good, like day to day. Make it rain, focused on money, getting it. So like you're focused on your career, but also like, you're focused on like going to the market, maybe seeing your friends more, making friends, that you feel something's played out with this person, but that they're at some kind of new starting line, or that you're at a new starting line. And it's much sunnier over here. Again, like look how, yeah. And that there's some kind of like obsessive lover over here, thief and fake smiles. And this could be this person and also like potentially whoever they involved with. Because I think there's a third party here who's like a hater of yours, very envious person. This person clocked it, because this person will clock a lot actually. They act stupid. And maybe they think that that's how you see them, as someone who acts stupid. And maybe they're moving in with that person, or they're always moving, or they're always partying, stalker, somebody who's like keeping tabs on you. But maybe they keep tabs on a lot of people, because for some of you, I feel like this is like, it's giving homosexual, where they like rotate their, where they stay, like they don't ever keep a home or something like for themselves. They mooch, or they leech off of people, and they want to come back and like leech off of you. And I don't think that you're flattered by that anymore. Yeah, you feel that they are a wolf in sheep's clothing. And I feel like there's nothing more to be said about this individual. And you, silver-tongued. That's the last thing. Silver-tongued. So it's like there's nothing this person can say. And I feel like that's actually healthy, because this person has a lot they need to fix and a lot that they need to heal. They need to get at the root of it. The root of it is their mentality, that they feel entitled to certain things, and they justify their bad behavior, and they objectify people. That's the root of it. So they need to change their mindset. And it's going to be very hard for them to do if they're still hanging out with the same bullshit people who think this kind of thing is acceptable, but not just acceptable, also like a signifier of strength or manliness, instead of what it really is, which is insecurity. This person's deeply insecure, and I think that they feel that whatever they are, that there's also, and I think this is good, there's a language barrier here now, because what this person does, and they're like, I'm so strong, I'm so cool. You're literally insecure, you're pathetic, and you hang out with other people that tell you that being pathetic is being strong. So I can't be around it, and I certainly don't want it around like any little children that I'm responsible for or will be bringing up in this world. They will have a better example. Thank you. Goodbye. That's how you feel about it. So anyways, I think we're just going to leave that there for pile number 1. This all came out pretty stream of consciousness. So I think this person has some level of understanding here about the way that you think about them. Grooming is an art. This is my ex-homosexual. My gosh. Homosexual sounds like an unsanitary person, and they often are, because they don't they don't have like a regular place to like bathe, or like even to keep their stuff. And you can look it up on, I don't have TikTok, but I watch an enormous amount of TikTok videos for someone who does not have TikTok. And a lot of a lot of women like sharing their stories with that, like they're just shocked at the way, like there's a whole repertoire of like somebody who's trying to like use you for lodging. So yeah, okay, whoop whoop. Sassy snaps. All right, so I'm just gonna throw this back up here if you're just joining us. We just did pile number 1, which is the hunter, and we're moving on to pile number 2, which is the healer, which we need after having done pile number 1. Thank Jesus. Or Muhammad, or whatever, whoever you're thinking, Krishna. We don't discriminate around here. The high vibrational beings are all welcome. Anybody in that energy? The healer is most selected in the poll. So. Oh. They know what we think, yet won't leave. LOL. I mean, if this person is a homosexual, at least they are in their like energy. Then they're like a squatter kind of. Maybe that person had kind of like squatter, even energetically. Like I've staked my claim. I'm going to squat here. I've tried to send a super chat 3 times. Interesting. All right. Do you want to look into that, babe?
There's nothing that is wrong on the settings on our end, so it must be a YouTube issue.
Okay. Nobody falls in love faster than a narc who needs a place to stay. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I just put that up there. We're just going to compassion this space because even though people do what they do, you know, it's still worthy of compassion. That doesn't mean that you should drop your boundaries or like change the way that you're behaving towards them, but you can still like understand them as like being a person going through their own human experience and things like that. And it's good to be reminded. Energetic abuse, yeah. Try the Ko-Fi link in the description, less hassle. Oh, okay. Took me a while, but I got here. Welcome, welcome. All right. Aw, thanks, guys. So, okay, let's go into pile number 2. Whoops, pile number 2, which is the healer. I just heard blue healer. So maybe somebody has a blue healer. Or maybe blue is relevant. I'm blue, na-ba-dee-na-ba-die. Okay, let me see. Okay, how does this person think that pile number 2 sees them, Spirit? New energy for pile 2, please. How does this person feel like pile number 2 sees them? This person. Okay, hold on. I'm confused by this. I need a different deck. I'm getting a lot of confused energy coming through, and I just want to make sure that... Because this person is also, like, being a certain way, and I just want to make sure, like, of what this is. Big buckets of no thanks. Okay, that's kind of the energy that I was getting of like, oh, I really don't care what you think or how you... What is it? How... There's a lot of scrambling for me in this one. How they think that you see them. It's like, I really don't care about how you see me. Maybe that's your energy. I don't know. Let me just see. How does this person think that pile number 2 sees them? Okay, this person doesn't know how you see them. This person feels defensive in this situation because Yeah, they don't know. This person doesn't know. Okay, that's kind of what I'm getting. And I think this person, again, there is a little bit of like insecurity here, but I do feel this person's trying to be like, well, I really don't care the way that you see me. It could be that this person there's something Virgo energy here. So like maybe this is somebody you saw like on the daily and some kind of like routine, but also with the healer energy here, this is somebody that is maybe works in the field of medicine or does some kind of service work or has done some kind of like service for you. And this person does think highly of themselves. This person does think like, well, I just like, I show up and I do the job. You might disagree. And there might have been something that has gone on here, but I think that's what this person kind of tells themselves in my head, but there does feel like a stutter around it. Like, and, yeah, Wheel of Fortune. Okay. They feel like maybe you think of them as like being successful or something with the Wheel of Fortune, or maybe like you've been something's changed here, like in this situation in a big way, and I think it was like maybe somewhat unexpected, and there was like an argument and something here like fell apart, and I don't know if that was a relationship or it could have been like an actual business or something here like that, but there's been some kind of like change in fate, some kind of change in a fate line. That could be you or that could be them. And it could be for better or it could be for worse, or maybe like one goes one way and the other goes another way. So how do they think you see? I think this person sees you as the sun, actually. Like this person actually thinks very highly of you, likes being around you, but I think it's private. I think it's like kind of kept within them, maybe because there's something taboo or like inappropriate about this, or like because they're supposed to be providing some type of service, or like maybe you guys work together or something, or it could just be because there are snaky people around this person. Maybe for some of you, this person feels like they're worried that you think they're a snake because they are around snakes. Tell me about that. This person's confused. Okay, this is something happened here, and this person is confused, and I feel like it was the hand of God, and I feel like this is a person who is meant to kind of be sifting through the actuality of like their existence and of the people that are around them and of their day to day. That's what it feels like. And there's been some kind of karma here in the situation, and it could have to do with you, to do with like this fault line where things have been like, so they're really confused in their mind, and they are trying to actually explore this, but like behind the scenes. But I do feel like this person's trying to give off this like unbothered kind of vibe, to the point where I'm picking up on it even like psychically. And I don't know if this person does have some kind of like psychic ability, or even if they I don't know if it's necessarily that, or if genuinely the way that this person, it feels kind of rusty in the way that they kind of process their stuff and like their information behind the scenes. So I think really genuinely they're like, well, I don't really care how you see me, but they kind of do, and they are kind of curious, and this is kind of priming the pump. But as I'm seeing the wheel, the gear kind of like start to turn, I'm hearing like rust sounds, like where it sounds squeaky, and it just sounds, and it's like kind of, so it's like this, maybe this person hasn't cared much about what anybody thinks about them in a long time, but they do care about you because they do actually really like you. I kind of feel like favorite energy here, but this doesn't feel like, they feel genuinely happy, they feel warm in your presence, they like when you guys are alone. If you are ever alone, they really do like that genuinely. But they're defensive about this process, because this to me feels like a person who is in process, and they're getting a different perspective on things. And I think it's because of like something that you've said or that you've done here. And this person, they would like to clear the air, because this person like feels happy around you, but they don't know how you feel about them. Yeah. So, but how do they think that you see them? This is a hard question for them to answer, actually. How do they think that you feel about them? This is funny. Because they will need to open their heart. Yeah, there's not a lot of heart energy here. This might also be a person who's like, well, I am the job. You know, like I'm hearing that line from His Congeniality. You're the job, right? Well, I'm the job. So you're the job. Like, what's wrong with me being the job? Sandra Bullock's character, because she's the girl, you know? So it could even be like to do with that. Like, well, I don't have feelings or thoughts, or like, you know, but they do. They think you see them. Okay. I think they think that you see them as somebody like sexy and strong, maybe somebody with like a plan, or who's executed their plan maybe as well. But this doesn't feel necessarily strategic. I don't know if you see, because this person might be off is what I'm getting, like with the way that you see them, and they kind of know it. They kind of think, maybe I'm off with the way that you see me. So what I'm saying with them executing their plan is that I think they had like goals in life, and they had like a roadmap that they wanted to follow in life, in some arena of their life or in some capacity, and that they have accomplished or achieved that. But possibly that means that they're alone in some way. Even if they're like with other people, you know, that they kind of stand alone and that they have to kind of keep people like at bay or at like arm's length. They're really confused. This person's really confused about like a 5 of Pentacles kind of energy, because I think they see themselves as like a nurturing kind of person, but maybe you needed help and you didn't go to them or something, or they feel left out in the cold by you, or there's something here that's like lacking, or maybe you view them as lacking in some way. They're thinking maybe you do view me as lacking, but this person doesn't see themselves as lacking. They really genuinely see themselves, for better or for worse, they see themselves as like, I try my best. I'm good at what I do. I show up every single day. And I'm not saying that I can't, you know, connect with like every person maybe in a way that I want to, but I'm not a bad person for that. Like, it's maybe not even like really reasonable for you to expect that of me, but this person does feel like happy towards you. They do feel like they do feel happy towards you. I think that you do kind of like, you know, this also for some of you, I feel like this may be like a professional, but you have a personal kind of relationship with this person, or you want a personal kind of relationship, and there is this like this split here, and I think this person is maybe trying to navigate that as well. And I do think for some, because this doesn't resonate for everybody, this person's asking for your empathy in that, of like, can you please see me as a person, you know, that I have a function that I'm supposed to do, and there's a way that I'm supposed to do it. In short, like, this is professional conduct. This is keeping a certain distance, or in order for me to function in my job and to be able to do what it is that I need to do. They're asking, please see me as a person. Please have softness for me, not an ushy-gushy kind of softness, but please respect that I have this to do. Yes, I like you, you know, as a person, but there might be a line here that we can't cross. And there could be some kind of fault line here that is, that this person feels like you're making them at fault for something, but really it's just the circumstance or something like that. And you, again, they could be off about it. That could be wrong, or it could be not the way that you see things. This person is like, I don't really know, kind of a thing. They're flighty and inconsistent. Yeah, because for some of you, I feel like maybe it's not really that way. Like, it's not actually a professional dynamic. That's the way it's coming through. So, but for some of you, it's not really like that way. How do they feel like, if you are having a problem with this person and you have tried to bring it up, I imagine that you feel kind of shut down, or you feel like you're not getting any traction, or that it's just like they're very cold or something. And this person's not trying to be cold. How do they think that you... This person's mantra is me, me, and me. Okay, so a lot of you are saying like this is, okay, dismissive. Yeah, Ellen just said dismissive, like a dismissive avoidant. Because dismissive avoidants are not like really bad people, but they really, really rub people the wrong way, and they really do hurt people because they don't pay attention to the emotions. Like, this person might not, this person, I'm kind of getting that vibe here actually. They could be very dismissive avoidant. This could be a person who's like also a workaholic, that they kind of don't want to have to deal with stuff because it makes them feel uncomfortable. So instead they like focus on like work or routine. A lot of you, like, the consensus is kind of this person might be selfish, but I'm kind of getting for some of you there, it's not. It's like, this is kind of, I think there's a group here where there's something you need to process through, of why you are expecting a personal interaction with someone who may have like a professional obligation to hold themselves in a certain way. But for others of you, I don't think it's really that. I think that it might be that you have a you have a personal relationship with this person, and there's some kind of like coldness or distance, or like, I don't know, that this person like doesn't want to seem to address or like overcome. I don't see them as selfish. Yeah, I feel like there's a group here that sees them as selfish, and there's a group here where it's not that way. Okay, how do they think that you see them? Oh my gosh. Okay, so the Queen of Pentacles, like, maybe stable, nurturing, successful in their career, maybe you're waiting for your ships to come in. I don't know if this is with them, or they see you as somebody that is, Three of Wands. So it's like Sun and Aries energy. So like somebody that knows who they are, somebody who is like very strong in themselves and who is like maybe even manifesting and like waiting for your ships to come in. So I feel like they think highly of you, and they think you see them as like this kind of Queen of Pentacles energy, somebody who is like maybe already built something up, but is like a stable presence in your life, or like in terms of like your routine or something here like that. They have a lot of anxiety. Professional relationship, but my banter and smartass remarks throw them off kilter. Maybe some of you did something embarrassing to this person and you're like, how do they see me? Or how do they think I see them? I don't know. Okay, how do they think that you see them? Okay, so for some of you, this might be like online or something. That could be, or like messages or some kind of like communication. But I think there's confusion here. This person is confused about the way that you see them, but they are, they think that maybe you're confused about what you're looking at in them. I don't know. They're trying to be balanced about it though. I'm sorry if this is triggering, because for some, I think there is a positive pile here where they're genuinely not selfish. They're like some kind of professional or something, and so they understand that people are going to have like their own feelings and stuff, but they know that they need to hold them in a certain space. And I think that there is even some kind of understanding within them of like, well, there's nothing I can do about that. There's nothing I can do about the way that people see me. So I have to be in this like temperance energy. I'm going to kind of balance myself out. I'm going to try not to care about that so much, even if it like, because with this being like Jesha Mullah, this could be a person who is like, they're trying not to worry about the worldly stuff so much. This is maybe somebody, for some of you, I feel like this is kind of split actually. For some of you, this is a person who is on a spiritual path. They're trying not to worry about the worldly stuff so much. They're trying not to worry about having the biggest house, the most money, anything like that. And so I don't know if they feel like, or if this is somebody who offers some kind of a service, I mean, they probably get paid for their service, but they're trying not to like be all about that. Even if mullah a lot of times can be like some kind of major turnaround in your life where you have some kind of major restart. So it's like, even if I have to lose money or something, like I want to be authentic, or I want to make sure that I'm holding myself in a way that I feel like I can sleep at night, or like where I feel comfortable and I feel able to do my job or something like this person has that kind of like mentality. Yeah. The other thing is like mullah energy. That's Luna. So there's an emotional thing. So for some of you, I do feel this person's like in a mirror where it's like, it's not that they don't care about you. This person has a very earthy or pragmatic, or like I have a responsibility way of like caring for you, but possibly for caring for other people. So becomes an internal challenge. And I think that's kind of their karma of how do I manage my time? How do I manage my emotions? How do I manage? But they understand that if they're the ones, like this person for some of you is like a central hub to something. So they understand that, well, I need to be healthy. I need to be calm. I need to feel okay with who I am. So that's the thing I need to keep. And I do think that actually there's a person here. I'm so sorry. Some of you, I'm going to dip into the selfish person here in just a bit. I'm not getting a bad energy off of this. So far, like this is a person who's really, I think, mastering a lot of that. They're doing what they're being asked to do by spirit. They are working through their karmas. This is a person who I think has a lot of self karmas here. As well. Maybe for some, there's this like two sides of it where you feel that they should be warmer, or that they should be more emotional or something here as well, or like not shut you out. But be very careful that that is a decision that you have to make, because you don't get to just decide, well, you should be warmer as a person because you're not being warm to me. I think that you're not warm as a person, because this person may well be warm to people in their life. But it might be not you. And it might be people who have a different relationship to them, and those are the people that they've chosen to kind of keep in an inner circle, and it's not because you're rejected in any way. And some of you, I think this is a mirror where you've got to process through, like, why do I feel rejected by this person? Because I think you might see this person very highly, or like see this person like very successfully or something. And so this is a mirror of maybe you feel inadequate, but this person, if you think this person that I'm dialed into now sees you badly, or sees you poorly, or sees you as lacking or wanting in any way, they don't. They see you as, like I said, this Sun and Aries energy, possibly doing like God's work upon the I feel like there's Luna's getting kind of agitated, and so I feel like this is maybe agitating the moon space. So the feelings, the family environment, the attachment issues, the mothering issues, the way that we receive like nurturance. There's something about the way that we form bonds here. I feel like maybe some of you are wanting to form a bond with this person. It's not the way they would like to form a bond with you, or it's not where they feel comfortable forming a bond with you because of something that they need to do. And I think that needs to actually be respected for some of you. And if you're not able to do that, and make sure there's not an entitlement, and make sure that there's not an insistence here where someone else doesn't want it, or where it's feeling uncomfortable, because it's not that they're being cold and dismissive towards your needs. I think it's the other way around. And I think that it's more comfortable to project that out just because they're holding themselves in a certain way. I hope this isn't too sticky. That's just for some here. So yeah, that's, so I think they are very confused by it, but they're not, like, this person's not letting themselves get sucked in too much about the confusion, because they'll go back. They say to themselves internally, and I think this is healthy. They say to themselves, look, the way that you feel, I understand, and I hold compassion for, but, it feels like you don't have a relationship where you're going to have an intimate conversation, and it would be weird to have an intimate conversation. So you'd never solve it anyways. But this person is like, I just need to make sure that I'm holding myself in integrity. Do I feel like I'm holding myself in integrity? And that's all I can really do in this situation. Integrity is what I'm willing to offer you. And there is a warmth there. And there's a care about, like, your human experience. And there's a care about, like, compassion. There might be comparison here. Maybe you're comparing yourself to this person. And because of your feeling insecurity, or like your feelings of lack, you interpret this person's feelings towards you, or you interpret their actions more in a different way than they do. And it's more, their actions are more neutral, this person I'm picking up on, than you are interpreting them as. And they don't understand that, but they feel like that's for you to work out. And this person, I think, is your mirror, but they're fine with that. They understand that. And they have enough respect for you to say, like, you're working through whatever this is. Okay, now I want to push this over there. Oh, Emily was finally able to be to super chat. I'm a therapist. This tracks. Haha. Yeah. Like, that's really what I'm getting. And you know, a lot of times people who work in, like, helping industries like therapy or like medicine, they're trained in something called cold empathy, which if cold empathy is all you have, that's very frustrating. That comes off as very selfish. But cold empathy is it's a necessity if you work with a lot of people, because if you have your warm empathy in there with every single person that you diagnose with cancer, you're not going to function. And also, they're not going to get what they need out of you. They need a pragmatic, level-headed person who is not emotionally swamped to kind of guide them through. And this person knows that. It's vacate energy. It's, I'm brave. I know what I'm looking at. I know the way through these dark tunnels. You're scared. Hey, eyes up, follow me. Like, it's that energy. And really, I think that's why you feel that way towards this person, is because they're they're actually a container. And if you're trying to push for some kind of, like, social relationship or like a friendship, it's inappropriate, I feel like, in that circumstance. And it's not because they don't love you. You know, it's not anything like that, you know? And Emily's a therapist. I'm not a trained therapist, but I did take, like, an ethics class. And I remember them saying, like, you know, if you have somebody that you want to have that kind of friendship with, you should broach that topic and find them, like, a different therapist. If you guys want to take this as a friendship, because they need somebody to function for them in a neutral kind of way. And you put yourself in this really awkward position where maybe you don't function professionally, because professionally you have to help them untie their knots for them to be healthy. And they're expecting you and paying you to do that, you know? Okay. So let's put that person to the side. Okay. So this, I feel like so actually this kind of tracks, because I feel like there may be a selfish, cold, dismissive person in your life that you're trying to process through. And maybe this person's helping you process through. And so you're traumatized, and you're kind of, you're picking up on some of the same, like cold empathy, for instance. Luna is going off, man. Like this, it's kicking up these, like, emotional things. This is a safe person, though, that we just talked about. So there could be, like, this is maybe a therapeutic thing where maybe you have had a dismissive avoidant in your life. See how I'm just talking through, because I have something that I'm supposed to do, and Luna is meowing, but, like, she's not in any kind of danger or anything, you know? And maybe that's another thing too, where it's like, there might be a selfishness here that is masked up as, like, this neediness, but it is selfishness. It's a kind of, it's selfishness, and it's an entitlement. It's a self-absorption around this kind of other person. And she's not in pain. You know what I'm saying? Luna needs a lot of attention, and usually she gets it, you know? But okay, so I feel like there might be something going on here, though, where you could have dealt with, like, a dismissive avoidant, you know, in the past. This helping professional is not a dismissive avoidant. I'm really not getting that. They have these helping professional tendencies where they need to keep that kind of barrier, but you're seeing some of the same traits. This is skillful application over here with this, and it is because they care about you. It's something your brain can't process because you probably haven't been trained in what this person's been trained in, but, like, it's something you can't quite process because they have to have that separation to function and to function for you, and it is a sign of their nurturance. This dismissive avoidant stuff, that's something different. So be very careful when you're dealing with like a professional that you're not applying all these psychological terms, because that is not a human that's functioning in a human capacity. That is a human functioning in a professional capacity. Some of these people have licenses that they have to upkeep, or just their reputation. It's different. It's absolutely different. And what I'm trying to say is, like, you're not assessing their personality. Like, when you're in the room with your therapist, you're not assessing your therapist's personality. They're way too restrained for that. They should be. If they're a good therapist, they're way too restrained. You're not ever seeing your therapist's true personality. It's not because they're fake. It's not because it's because they're functioning the way they should be. They're operating in a field of psychology. They're not operating, let's just shoot the shit. There's a way that the field of psychology functions. You know, it's like that kind of thing. I feel like there's a twisted kind of thing here. But I feel like you have... it's something about this is very healing. Like, when you're dealing with this, like, this professional that way, who is that way, that's a healthy mirror and it's healthy boundaries. Whereas I feel like over here, you dealt with somebody or something that was not. And I can't tell if you were dealing with a dismissive avoidant kind of person where it was very selfish and they just didn't care about your emotions at all. And it didn't matter what you needed. It feels like with the helpful person, they just have like, I got way too much to do, so I manage my time this way. And so I'm going to tell you no a lot, but it's because if I don't, then nothing is going to get done. That's not the same over here for this person. It's not the same thing. So it's like, this person may tell you no or turn you down. Well, this person would turn you down, but it is for selfishness. They don't have anything else going on. It's not a professional relationship. There is a personal relationship, but you're being triggered over here because you're noticing the same kinds of things. But Spirit wants you to notice one is healthy. This is where this energy goes, and one's not healthy. But it also could be for some of you that you're not dealing with a dismissive avoidant. Maybe you're dealing with somebody who is like anxious attacher, where when you want attention, you're used to getting it. Like, you know how to push somebody's buttons here in order to get their attention. It also could be the same person for some of you, where maybe in your personal relationship that you had with this person, before they started going to therapy or something, before they started getting some kind of professional assistance, where they have this healthy mirror of somebody who has shown them, whether they know it or not, they're picking up boundaries from this person. Even if this person hasn't directly spoken to them about boundaries, they're watching a healthy person set and maintain boundaries. And that is being applied in your relationship. And so you're like, well, does this person not love me anymore? Because I used to be able to pull their buttons all the time. And when I said jump, they'd say how high. And when I wanted to make them cry, I can make them cry. And that made me feel loved. That made me paid attention to, you know? No, it's not the same thing. They're just getting healthier. So this, I don't remember what the original question was. How they think that you see them. Okay, so it could be, that's why, okay, this is making sense. That's why maybe this person thinks that is confused about the way that you see them. Because I think for some of you, this is a person who's healing. This is a person who maybe was more anxiously attached in the past. And so you could really push their buttons, or somebody here could really push their buttons, yank them around by their emotions. And that caused so much pain and suffering in this person. And they were so discombobulated and they were so confused because they kept giving love to a situation. And you were feeding off of that love. Let's be very honest. I think for a lot of you, this is like switched. This is like your own energy that's coming through. They were in so much pain and they were so confused because they were like, I don't know. Like he or she keeps telling me when to give more, that the problem is that I'm not giving enough, or that, and so you are used to this person contorting themselves into a pretzel in order to demonstrate that they loved you. And this person had to kind of realize that that's not love. And that, kind of going back to pile number one, that somebody who loves you is not going to do this. And I also heard a quote recently, and it was like, maturity in relationships is when you don't just consider what you receive from a relationship, but what you're giving. It bothers you if you're not giving like help, like in a balanced way into a relationship. And I don't think that, like, I can't tell who you are in this, because I think for a lot of you, this is your own energy and it's like being mirrored back. But like, if you are the person who's dealing with this person, I don't think that you've been mature in relationship with this person. I think that you have taken from this person. I think that you have played games with this person, mind games. I think that you have warped them. And I think that you view that as love. You classify abuse as love. And so when this person stopped playing your game, you thought that they stopped loving you. And this person didn't stop loving you. Maybe they're angry with you, but they had to start loving themselves because you weren't doing it. But also, we all need to be able to love ourselves. But they weren't loved in this relationship. Not really. They were tortured. This is some level of like torture, some kind of mental torture. And it's like, well, prove your love to me. Like, you're going to prove your love to me if like you keep contorting yourself, if you keep taking my abuse. This is somebody who thinks that like love belongs to somebody who tolerates the most pain. And the most manipulation. And that's not the right view of love. And again, I think this person has, some of these people have gone through, like they themselves have like studied psychology or become a therapist or something like that, or they're just reading a lot of books. I think a lot of these people maybe are in therapy, or like I said, there's this person that is demonstrating a warmth and an empathy with healthy boundaries, and they're showing them, like, they might not even realize it. They're showing them through their speech of like just building and maintaining healthy boundaries and making sure that you yourself are okay. And so it's like I'm seeing this person with like a mask on, like some kind of oxygen mask on. And so I think they're confused about how you see them, because I think they might feel that this person who's healing, I think they might feel that you think that they're giving you mixed signals or something, because they're not, or that maybe that you think that they don't love you because they've had to pull away in order to heal themselves, in order to figure out in order to unpretzel themselves. Because it was never going to unpretzel in the relationship. I think they kept holding out hope that you would love them enough to stop torturing them, but it just never occurred to you. Or maybe it never occurred, it never happened. It never happened in that dynamic. So they had to remove themselves, because it just got to a point where it was so bad. This person could have been experiencing health issues. They were on the verge of like not functioning. And so they have to watch this person who's like a professional, spiritually speaking, because this person knows how to function and also be warm and also be good at their job and also be responsible and well organized. And they're all of the things where I feel like this person, if I'm being honest, maybe you only gave them one choice. That if you want to be seen as a sweet person, a kind person, a loving person, I'll be the judge of that. All of that will be entirely based on how satisfied I feel with you and how much I feel like you're giving me. And if you feel that you should be giving me something different, all of that is invalid. That's one thing that Lundy Bancroft says is notice how much of the abuser's tactics are meant to discredit and silence you. So this person felt discredited and silenced, like in their own life, about their own emotions, about their own needs. Because everything, I feel like there's somebody who is very good at manipulation and good at warping things of like, what do you mean I give you this or I give you that? But they do that by mislabeling things. And so they're around, I think this is a therapist for a lot of you. I think they're working with a therapist who straightens out the definition of things. That's not love. That's abuse. That's not a relationship that is a one-sided dynamic. You're the only one pouring in, so it's not a relationship. So this person trying to say, well, we need to solve our relationship. They don't have you in a relationship. They've got you in this like master-slave kind of chokehold. That's not a relationship dynamic. And they are trying to soak you back into that or like pull you back into that. It's never going to work. You're not going to get a different result. That's what I really feel. So I think this person doesn't really know. And that's, I think, what I was picking up on in the beginning of like, well, I don't really care what you think about me. And I was confused by that because I'm not really getting that this person doesn't care. I'm not getting that they don't care. I think they would like to be able to care about you freely. I think that they've been put in an untenable situation where it's impossible for them to like love you and love themselves at the same time. Again, for a lot of you, these energies are switched. So just keep taking this however it resonates. Like, I think this is you. This is your own energy. And if that's the case, this has been all over the place. And that's what this feels like. This feels like the karmic cycles that have maybe played out for lifetimes where everything's pretty solidified have actually been massaged, and it's somebody here is assisting, I think, this person, but this person is like pulling apart the karmas here. And so everybody in this situation, I think, is like, I understand that you're confused because this is not the way that you typically go about it, like in this dynamic, but this feels like lifetimes old for me. So, this person though, like, I just kind of lost it. But that person who was saying like, well, I don't really care what you think about me. Like whoever you've left behind, I think that they're trying to also say, well, I don't really care what you think about me, because I'm not doing anything wrong. This is the selfish person that I was talking about. And they see themselves as being in some kind of routine, being respected by their community, because a lot of times abusers are very charismatic. They know when to be abusers and when not to be abusers. So they're like, I'm seen as like a pillar in my community or like da. And therefore, I don't care what you think about me because I know who I am and blah, 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 blah. But all of that is like bullshit because this person is very different behind the scenes and they know that they're warping people's minds. And I think some of them even enjoy it. That gives them a sense of like pride, but it only works if they're seen. And that's what Lundy Bancroft says. If they're seen as this like pillar of the community when they're really not, that's the thing that's going to hold this in place, where this person will never really change. And so for those of you that are dealing with a more selfish person, I feel like this is your energy, but everybody here has this same energy of being confused, of I don't really know what you think about me. This, like the professional person's like, well, I don't really know what you think about me, because I kind of feel like, you know, I feel like happy with you, you know, but I don't know what you expect of me, and I don't know how reasonable that is. So all I can do is focus on my own integrity and hope for the best, you know, and understand that I'm being like your strong mirror, and you're also being my mirror in certain ways, and that we're both working through what we need to work through, but I have to hold myself in a certain capacity. So they're confused. This person who's actually going through the change here, I think they're confused because they're learning something entirely different. They know they've shifted in their energy and with what they're giving and how they're showing up, and they know that that's probably confusing for whoever they were dealing with. And then the person that they were dealing with is saying, well, I'm confused because you've switched it up on me. You're giving me mixed signals. You've changed. And really ignoring entirely that they put them in an untenable situation. Emily, thank you so much for the super chat. This is a beautiful reading that really highlights the complexity through transparency of dynamics. Yeah. I thought I was suffocating. My eldest asked him way back, why do you hurt others? And his response was, because I enjoy it and I feel empowered. And then he tried to change his response. Yeah, they feel empowered by trying to take away power from other people. This is the kind of person that tries to grow tall by cutting off the heads of others. So this is a karma that's being dealt with, though. So if that person, I think it's unknown whether or not this like abusive person is going to change, but they're definitely not going to do it to this person again, because I feel like they're changing too much. And they are, I think, kind of becoming much more like this, like professional, somebody who's like holding themselves in a more professional energy and is much more further along, I think. Not much more, but it's like they're further along and they have a good balance with it. And they've showed them that they don't just only have to be the sweet person. You can be sweet and you can be smart and you can have boundaries and you can be healthy and you can say no and you can be all those things. I feel like the abuse that they suffered had this person thinking that they couldn't be all of those things, that they had to pick and choose. And that if they ever dared to assert themselves and say, I don't like that, or no, or that's too far, that the whoever's around this abuser just, it reinforces it. And they're like, oh, well, he's really just a nice guy. He means the best and you should just cave to him. And they think that's how we keep the family together. That's how we keep the friendship together, you know? And so it just becomes this cesspool and it doesn't really ever get challenged. And so there's a lot here where I think because there is an abuser in the mix here that gaslights and finger points and projects all over other people. This person here is like, well, I don't really know what people think about me and I can't care about it because I know I have to get away. And I know that I'm being misrepresented. I expect to be misrepresented because I know how this person kind of operates. And just like, you know, this person, I have to learn how to be strong within myself in the face of it. And how you interpret that's really your business. I just heard that's really your business. Because it's not who I really am. And I'm done letting you dictate how other people see me. Because you will misrepresent me if I dare not to follow your exploitation and your commands of me. Yeah. So anyways, that is, and there could be a like people getting on like one side or the other side of this, of like a fault line. But there's a lot of people who are still, because there's one major abuser here, and then there's people who follow this abuser, and they get indoctrinated into that abusive mindset. So I think they just know that it's prevalent in like their family tree or something. They just know that it's prevalent. They know that it's there. They know what it's taken for them to kind of break with it. And they don't really expect other people to break with it super fast. They know that it's hard to challenge it, especially when the group gathers behind the abusers, you know, and believes that that charm or the charisma or the mask of the abuser, doesn't stop to think, well, this is a very smart person. They do things behind closed doors, and how dangerous a person like that really is. They don't really think that. So deconstructing the culture of nice. You know what? Alex and I were talking about, oh my gosh. Okay. So this is the last thing that I'll say too. Cause we were talking, I brought up to him, I was like, well, I was thinking the other day that like, when you think about it, when you really think about it, the situations that women in particular have been in for long periods of time where they were just expected to like be married to somebody that maybe they didn't really even know all that much. And then because of traditional cultural pressures, even if that doesn't work out, even if you are being abused, you are expected to never leave because that goes against God and you're sinning and everything. So when you really think about it with the female brain and how it's developed, what incentive does she have to see a man clearly, to see the man that she's with clearly, when if he is abusing her or her children, she's incentivized in her mind to make up a fantasy about him and around him, and saying, oh, well, he doesn't really mean it, or he's just stressed from work, or he's this way or that way. And Alex, my husband, goes, oh, you know, I think that that's how I would define feminism. is just you having the freedom to see your life exactly the way that it is and like not sugarcoating it, because you can actually navigate it the way that you need to. So you are incentivized now, and you see this women online forming these little bubbles where they're trying to parse through a lot of the expectations that have been thrown upon us and how it warps our mind, how it warps our perception and the way that we're seen. So I think it's actually healthy. Somebody here is pulling away, diverting from that. And I feel for a lot of you, this is the most chosen pile because it's your own energy, you know, back at you, where it's really, really good where for somebody to say, I can't really worry about how you see me actually, because I'm trying to see through the layers of fog that have been placed upon me and like the people in my like inherited line, the women in my inherited line, forever. And I can't think about it. I have to focus on what is true and where do I need to be for like my own health. And I feel like all of us are walking each other home and we're saying like, no, really look again. Look again. This isn't safe. And it's not safe for you. It's not safe for your kids. It's not safe for other people to be around a person like this, you know? And this is why we have a lot of problems in our world. So, yeah, so true. Oh, thanks. Just thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, thank you guys too. Because I feel like, again, we're all like, I'm tapping into your energy. I learn a lot like here on tarot too. So anyways, yeah, I feel like we're all going through that process together, like as this kind of like collective awakening. And I think there's a lot kicking up right now, like kind of in response to that, because it doesn't want to let go of the way things were. That's what you hear from that side of things. It's like the way things were, the way things were. And it's just this like lead balloon. And it's like, I don't understand why we can't learn and grow. God is not wanting us to stay in this like stagnant loop for all of an eternity. So, okay. Anyways, that is pile number 2. I'm going to go ahead and throw up the piles here. We just finished pile number 2, which is the healer. And then we're moving into pile number 3, which is the stone. I'm just going to take a moment. Through my healing, I don't care how many of my family enablers don't believe me. They can have her. I hope they get the healing that they need. I have a toxic family mindset to break. My children will be free. Yeah. And a lot of people can't believe you because the moment that they believe you that something's wrong, they need to step up and take some kind of action. And it's just a lot easier for them not to do that. And it would make them a bad person if they knew that there was an abuser, but then they didn't take any action. That would make them a bad person. So there's just some kind of selfish incentive for everybody to kind of hold that. And also maybe they would have to admit some things about themselves because certain people do things as well. Tasha Blonde Diablo, thank you so much for the super chat. Critical hit. Yeah. They, a lot of people have to confront their own behavior in order to be able to speak strongly, which is, it's come out in the readings before, innocence is the seed of nobility. Innocence is the seed of strength. You can come out on the right side of things with heavy hits when you know yourself to be innocent. And a lot of people can't do that, which is why, and then you know that there's kind of a selfish, ego-driven agenda that most people have to kind of toe the line in a lot of conversations because they can't, rinse their sins out in the river. They don't know how to do that. I love being in this group so much, even if I'm quiet. It's comforting. Thanks for creating it, Jess. Oh, well, thanks for creating it also and being here as well. And it's totally fine to be quiet or, to be vocal so long as you're respectful and all that stuff. So the peace I feel is beyond my expectations. Nice. Felt I should speak up. Yeah. They feel guilty, so it makes them angry. Yep. But they'd have to start on that self-awareness journey where they're like, okay, we've got to unpack all this. And it's truly brave to do what we're doing of trying to confront ourselves. So, all right, if you're ready, I'm ready. We'll do this. Pile number 3. Okay. How does pile number 3's person think that they see them? Aw. Okay, so Spirit, how does pile number 3's person think that they see them? Is pile number 3's person... Whoa. Okay, I feel like there's something here where it's like taking time. It's taking time. Or, okay, so it could be that they think you see them as being like very anxious or very tormented, very sad. Yeah, sad, grieving something, like grieving the end of something, and like maybe having to gray rock a situation in order to protect themselves emotionally. So this person thinks, for some of you, I think this person thinks that you can see right through them, you know, and that you guys have had a problem or something here, and that they're just feeling like anxious. So if this is like a work thing, this is somebody who's like, okay, like I'll get that done, but really they're like anxious. They maybe don't like their work environment or something. If this is like a more personal relationship, this is somebody who is like, yeah, like kind of gray rocking, or maybe this also could be like a relationship that's ended, and it's ended because somebody here is like anxious and just tormented like in this relationship, and they're sad but kind of grieving. Yeah, that they think you see them as somebody who is like maybe waiting to open up. Like you're waiting for them to open up. And that maybe you've been waiting for a long period of time, or you're waiting for some kind of new beginning. You're waiting for like an ace of wands kind of energy. I don't think this person plans on opening up. But they think that you see them as like just this kind of stone. Like you're not getting blood from a stone. You're not getting much from them. But they think you kind of can see right through them, and that you suspect that this person is in their feelings, like is in a heart space. Maybe is feeling like jealous or envious or sad, or just there's something that's gotten in the heart space that's kind of darkened the heart space. Not like completely pitch black or anything, but it's just gotten in there like a toxin that needs to get kind of like worked out, and that this person's like crying, and that they're anxious, and that they're grieving, but that there's still love here, and that you're waiting for them to like roll away the stone. But I don't really think this person's going to roll away the stone, but they think that you think that you're waiting for them to be this ace of wands again, and they're not. This person's maybe they've changed something here, but they've changed like their location. I don't know. They could have turned their location off, so you can't like track them. Yeah, that they're stressed out. How do they think that you see them? Yeah, question mark. Like you're wondering. Okay, because they could think that you're wondering about a new beginning that they've had, because you're not getting much from them, but like they have done, like they either have done something that's like a new beginning. Maybe they think that you're wondering about that, or you're wondering because you're not seeing much from them. Like you're maybe wondering what they're up to. And you know that it would be new because they're not around you. Oh yeah, lovers. Maybe for some of you that you're wondering about a lover situation, like, maybe if they're with somebody else, like how long that's going to go on, like, you know, or yeah, you're waiting for something to change, like maybe in a lover situation. Or maybe they think that you see them as somebody who is like, if there's been cheating here, for instance, and like somebody's put up this blockage, they think that you think that they're anxious, that they're grieving this, but maybe that they're waiting. I'm not really getting that from this person, that they're like waiting to see when a relationship's going to be over. I'm not really getting that. I think it's more the person, somebody cheated on this person who put up a block here, and they're processing behind the scenes. And I think that person, whoever cheated, I think that it was a mind game. We've got a lot of manipulation coming through in the cards today. It was like more of a mind game or something. And so maybe this person has started something over, or they've started some kind of new relationship, and this person's like waiting for that to be over, or they've started some kind of passionate new beginning, or they could be with some kind of like friend group, and they're waiting for that to be over. But whatever new beginning that this person has, it's real. It's not a play. It's not a manipulation. It's not going to be over, unless it naturally just is over, or like, because it's somebody here's really actually grieved something. So they think that you view them as not giving much away here, and holding firm in their position. They're crossing over it, and they're learning, though. For some, they think that you see them as a person that's in school. They think you see them as someone who's like actually in school, or actually like learning something, taking a class or something like that. How does this person think that you see them? Sending much love from LA. Much love back. Y'all been through it. This person is the Coffin's perspective. I'm waiting for him to stop spying. Okay, how do they think that you see them? Yeah, it's heartbroken. Heartbroken over a King of Pentacles? And a King of Pentacles relationship with somebody else? As maybe being in a karmic relationship? Or like having some kind of karmic tie to a King of Pentacles? Who's being like, who's holding hands with someone else. Somebody, they think you see them as somebody who doesn't have the truth about a secret. But they might have the truth about the secret. So they think that you see them as somebody who doesn't have the truth about a secret. But they do. They do. That's also confirmation. So they think that you see them as somebody who doesn't have the truth about a secret. Maybe a secret affair, a secret. If this is a work situation, then this is something that's gone on in secret. But they do. They know. This person knows because they're very intuitive. This person's intuitive, but also something has shed a light here on whatever this secret is. Because I'm kind of getting moon energy from this High Priestess. I know a lot of people read this as like a Pisces card. But yeah, either way, this person's very intuitive. And they've seen it. They know something here. And that's why they put up a blockage. And it's because they're ending a cycle here. And they were like anxious, or they were sad, and I don't know for how long. But they've closed this up and they are actually very happy, but they might think that you see them as somebody who is like anxious or sad or caught up in their head about something that they've gone on here. And they might have been, and for some, it's not even as long. It's not for very long. But it could have been. They think maybe that you think that, yeah, that you're waiting for them to like open up to like remove some kind of blockage. That could be on social media. That could be for them to stop gray rocking, for them to show you some kind of emotion. Because this person, I think, maybe has this Ace of Wands kind of energy where it's very bright and it's very sunny between the two of you. But that's shut off as soon as like they realize something, and they think that you think that just one day on a Wednesday they're going to remove it and forget all about what you did, or like or again flip these energies. I don't know. How do they think you see them? As waiting for a new beginning, as waiting for an offer. I don't think this person is, though. I think they think that you think that they're hung up on this. That they're waiting for something to like materialize here. Maybe that they're alone. Yeah, that they're waiting. And that they think that you see them as waiting for you. And again, flip these energies. This is the way that it's coming through. But that you are not revealing some kind of truth, or that there's like a dysfunction going on in terms of communication. Because somebody here's like, I'm not telling you the truth. Like the nose is up in the air and like kind of dancing around, like in communication, dancing around. So I don't know. You've got to take this however it resonates, because I think for some of you, you could say, okay, this person who's closed off from you sees you as dancing around the truth and thinks that you think they're going to open up, and they're not. So I think we're seeing it from both sides here. I don't want to confuse this too much, mostly myself. Okay, so how do they think that you see them? Tower. Protecting themselves from a tower. And being confused about what to do. About like what they thought was like manifest in the physical, but what they kind of sense intuitively of like being torn between those two things. Maybe being in their head about money, some kind of money that was like torn up about being the favorite, about who's the favorite. At work, or like in a routine environment, or like torn up about their pay, if this is like a work environment, caught in some kind of mind game. I think for some, they think that you think that your mind game is unfolding the way that you think it's unfolding. I think in reality, this person might be having fun. They could have gone out and like had a celebration, or they think that you think they're ignoring you, maybe at a party or something. And I kind of feel that they are. And that you're up in your head about it. So this is like switching and changing here. So I think they feel like they're ignoring you. It's not ignoring you out of like to play a game. It's ignoring you because you haven't been honest with this person and you're talking around the truth. So this is never going to budge. They think that maybe you're trying to get them in a different place, like maybe a party atmosphere to jazz them up a little bit so that you can get that Ace of Wands energy. This person is like aware that that's what you're doing and they don't respect it. They really don't respect it if that's what you're doing. And so now they think that you're up in your head thinking like that you can't win, with your plan, that there's been a plan here. It's all in the Wands energy too. So maybe to like introduce competition or to warm this person up or that you think you're their higher cup. They don't think you are behaving like this. Yeah, like they think that you think that maybe they're trying to win. That they're just playing a game. That they're just they just want to win and that it's not. This is a way of dismissing this person's experience and their emotions and to not have to talk about it and to not have to talk about the truth. And then just to say like, well, they're just ignoring me because they want to win and because they want to, no, they don't want to be around a person who's going to talk around the truth. They understand that like, this isn't going to go back to the way that it was. This will get addressed and it'll get addressed deeply. And some of you, like this person is going to say, look, we got to get into therapy about this. If we're going to, keep going any further. I don't think you'll just have one conversation about this. I think this is something this person's like, we need to be aware of this tendency, the fact that you do this. This will follow us for the rest of our relationship if we have one in the future. And for some, this person's not willing to have one because they're protecting their heart. And this is actually a very innocent person. And I think that maybe you see that. But this person also thinks that maybe you're scapegoating them. There is a lot of movement energy here. A lot of movement. This person maybe thinks that you're both up in your head about each other. That's what you think. That there's a lot that's just kept internal. It's kept internal because there's no cooperation here. This is not being dealt with like a relationship. It's being dealt with like a war, like strategy. I don't think this person's who's gray rocking, I don't think their natural inclination is to deal with something as a war. I think it's to be cooperative, but they're also not going to tolerate somebody who's not going to face their problems. They feel like you need to apologize. You did something wrong and they think maybe you did it to get them up in their head or that that any sane, normal person would feel a type of way about this, would feel hurt or whatever. And so they kind of feel like you both know what's up and they feel like you should be the one to make the move and to admit what you did and to say that you're sorry and to clear that up and to say why you did what you did. And any question that they want to ask, they're going to be looking at you to see if you're answering it in a way that they feel is honest and that you're not giving them a PR answer or something like that. I feel like for a lot of you, this is your own energy. I don't know. The messages come through the way that they come through. And that's what they feel like. That's how the dance should go. If you're a cooperative person, and this person's really only interested in being in any kind of relationship with a cooperative person, that didn't happen. And so this person kind of thinks that you're dangerous and that you're disingenuous and that you're maybe a mind game player or that you think that something here, yeah, they're defensive. This person just is defensive. There's something here about the way this is kind of shifted and changed over time because for some of you, it's like in the immediate aftermath, they thought that you thought they were kind of blocked off because they're anxious and they're maybe crying or they're nervous or they're grieving this and they're keeping themselves kind of separate. But they thought that you didn't take any step here to comfort them or to tell them the truth or to admit what you did, to suck the poison out of the situation. They feel like you didn't do anything like that and that you were strategically doing that because you felt that this person's innocence and their sweetness and their benevolent nature would ensure that they would eventually, even though they've been disrespected, even though nothing's been owned up to, even though nothing's been taken care of, that they would remove this blockage or obstacle and that your relationship would just naturally go back the way that it was. But they're just, ugh. I just saw this person was like, ugh. Like it's distasteful. It's like putting on wet clothes again. Like after you fell in a creek and you took your wet clothes off and then you got all clean and dry and then it's like, oh, now put those wet clothes back on. This person is giving me that like, oh, I could never, it's that kind of thing. I would never do that. I could never disrespect myself that much because this person's a sweetheart, but I think that they're actually a very noble person. And I think that might be what you misjudged or miscalculated in this person. They're not okay with being undignified, being around people who are undignified or who rubbish them, like who rubbish their name or who through people that they don't respect, that they don't think are also noble and are going to, that it would bother this person's conscience. If they had done what you did, they don't understand it and they don't care to. They don't want to be around it. It would bother their conscience had they been in your shoes and did what you did. And then you're just going to sit there with a smile on your face. Like, I'm pleasant to be around, like, you know, waiting for this person to remove their boundaries. Don't you want to come to the party? Don't you want to have fun? And this person is like, I am literally so grossed out right now. Like, ew. Wow, this is gross. It feels like putting on wet clothes. That's the feeling that they're giving me. That's how badly it would feel. And all of it would be a performance. This person thinks that you expect them to perform happiness so that you can feel better about yourself, and that you don't need to step up, say, I am a piece of shit. I did this, and that. And I'm so sorry. I recognize that I hurt you. Are you okay? What do you need from me? And just triaging the situation and showing up. There's no love or care here. I think this person's kind of like, I don't know who this person is, or I don't know, like, wow. I think they're really shocked. I think for some of you, they're just really shocked that they weren't, that they were treated the way that they were. Yeah, they think that you think that they're being quiet, and maybe even that they're being secretive. But this person is very confused by you, because it's like, you're the one who's been secretive. You're the one that's being strategic. You're the one that has like thumped them in the face and then not said that they were sorry, and that you're projecting that onto them. When really this person's like, I've just identified being in an unsafe situation with an unsafe person, and that I don't want to be vulnerable or intimate or fun. That doesn't really endear you to me. And the fact that that's confusing to you is also a red flag. This person is actually much more stable in their emotions than you think they are. Much more. I don't know how there's a lot of fire coming through for you. Fire is like emotions. Like it can be anger. It can be competition. You know, I'm hearing the word impulsivity, but I think that there needs to be there's an emotion behind your impulsivity. And I don't know what it is or if it changes, but I think it's not just, you have emotions that come up through the body. Emily, thank you again for the super chat. He acts like he doesn't know I see right through him. Does he genuinely think he's not obvious? Yeah, I think so. They don't think about it too much though, because it's almost like off the table. It's like not an option at all for them to consider being vulnerable or being soft. They really don't want to do that, because this is a person they have emotions, but it's like fire emotions. And I feel like the emotions come up through the body. It's things like impulsivity or like some kind of sensation or something. And they need to do the work of interpreting that is actually an emotional space for them. It's more of the watery emotions that are coming up through. So that produces like steam. And it like evaporates very quickly. So if this person does express emotions, then it might be very quick. It's like here 1 minute, gone the next. Whatever happened here, it's not the situation. If you're applying here 1 minute, like, okay, and I'm sorry. Okay, now can we get back to playing and having fun? Then you didn't do it right. No, you didn't do it right. You put a scar into another person and then you just left it there. And this person does this. I'm just kind of getting that this person does this. They don't know I don't know. I want to say they don't know better. They don't know any other way to be. But this person, it's like, I'm seeing them like actively not thinking about this. But they do it in this kind of puppy golden retriever kind of way, so that they can convince themselves that they're happy and they're pleasant and that they're a nice person. I'm a golden retriever. I'm fun. I'm social. Like, come pet me, throw my Frisbee, but it's distracting is what it is. They're distracting themselves. They want to move on quickly from this because they don't want to stop and look at it about this gross. I just heard gross, because this person would agree with you. That's the thing. This person would agree with you if they stopped for a moment and like let their energy settle. I feel like this person just wants to have fun time. Like, this is a person who just, and we all want to have fun time, but you can't truly have fun time with all of these kind of weird emotional scars like beneath it. And I feel like that's maybe what goes on in this person's family. Maybe you share a family with this person. And they want to, I'm the golden retriever, but they're the person who has inflicted an immense amount of carnage, and they need to deal with that if they truly want to be the golden retriever, because they're not. They have a false self-image of I'm just precious and I'm just fun. And I think they're delusional. This person's actually delusional. They're delusional in their mind because they think that they're the happy, fun one and that you're dragging the energy down. Really, this person stabbed you in some way, deep wound. You need surgery. And this person's like, want to go to the park? And they're like, yeah, I don't know. He cried. He cried in the car all afternoon. And then he passed out for a little while. He turned like green. Can you imagine the nerve of this guy? I mean, he vomited once. And I was like, let's go to the park. Like, I'm the good one, right? Like, I was like, let's have fun. Like, I wanted to have fun. I was like, we're going to do your favorite thing. Let's go throw the Frisbee. But then he just sat there and like moaned. He was like, whoa. And this person, they're just like refusing to see what's right in front of them, which is that you need to go to the emergency room. You need to go to the doctor because your relationship, they have wounded you. And they just conveniently leave that part out. And they're like, well, whoever they're telling the story to is like, let me go out to the car and let me see. And then they get out there and they see you and they're like, dear God, did you stab this person in the stomach? Are you nuts? Like, this person doesn't understand that there's something kind of Joker-esque about the way that they come across. It's cold. Like, they're like, I'm just a golden retriever. I mean, I just like to go to the park all day. And it's like, they don't deal with their shit. And nobody likes to be around them and it's not pleasant. It doesn't compute for this person because they don't want it to compute. And they just think that if they put their attention on things that are pleasant, that is the way that they'll come across in the world. It's delusional. This person's like delusional. They're keeping themselves in a state of delusion about who they are as a person in order to not have to acknowledge the reality of the level of harm that's been caused here. I'm really getting the word betrayal. Betrayal, and we've talked about this a lot, like the stats on betrayal, it's like when you experience that, there's so much that goes into it that it is one of the things, if you don't process it, it will show up in your body. Like, it's one of the things that's most likely to actually show up in some kind of like health related issue. It's not, well, we just skip over this and and act like it doesn't exist. It doesn't work that way. You're still left to fend for it. You just hurt quietly on the inside. And that's kind of what this person expects you to do so that you guys can look like you're having fun again. They don't care about your actual experience. So there's not actual empathy here, but this is a person who seems like they're that way. They seem like they care about people. They seem social, but they're not emotional. Their emotions are fire. They have emotions. It's fiery. And they think that your emotions, because you have them and because you'll acknowledge them, that you're emotional, but they think emotional is like histrionic or dramatic, but not in a fire way, in a sad sack kind of way. Like, oh, you just want to sad sack and cry all afternoon. Like, it's kind of that energy, but it's like, you need to be acknowledged. And if this happened and if they could be a full functioning person, because think about it in terms of the tarot, like the Empress is, all of the suits. This person just wants to stick in fire. That could be they just want to have sex and make everything better. That's the other thing. But they need to start developing themselves in the other suits. They need to develop themselves in water in particular. They need to start exploring their emotions. They can't do that. So life will put this person in a position where they have to cross over into the water arena, but they don't feel comfortable there. This is a person who I think feels awkward emoting, or like if you talk about your emotions and like you're comfortable about it, they feel like awkward. I can so relate to this being I went through this early on, thank you, Jesus, Lord, because I kind of came from a family that's not comfortable with emotions. And it's always like everything's a joke and everything's like fiery or whatever. But I remember as a teenager, because I am very empathetic, I would just notice the way that was like affecting people. And I would recognize you saw that? I would recognize what my friends needed and stuff. And so I would just kind of like, okay. And I would emote and I would feel like an absolute like clown doing it, but I kind of, and some of my friends would be like, yeah, well, like, I didn't really think that was very funny, or I felt like you were making fun of me in your joke or something. And I really took that to heart. And I was like, well, I feel like you're not allowing me to be myself. But honestly, they were right. And I made a lot of like changes to my personality that I don't regret, because I realized I was just like, I have emotions, but I was just like always so uncomfortable because my family never really held space for them or took them seriously, or everything got turned into a joke or like just very like glossed over, and it's just not a way to be. So I feel like this person is kind of going through that, but like later, but I don't think they have. It's like a baptism, and they are breaking their own heart. This person, again, we're off topic again. I can't remember what this was, how they think you see them. This person's breaking their own heart but they're not acknowledging their own heart either here in the situation. They'd rather just blame you and just in this delusional like way so that they can maintain. I'm hearing the word like charismatic. This person tries to slap charisma on everything. Oh, my charisma is the way that I form bonds. So if I've hurt you, then I'm just going to charisma all over you. And until you like me again, I'm just going to overwhelm you with this like kind of charisma, instead of sometimes you need to be quiet. Sometimes you need to hold someone while they cry. Sometimes you need to account for why you did what you did. Sometimes you're not the fun, playful golden retriever. Sometimes I think this person had an emotion that welled up in them, and I think it was like jealousy or envy. There's an emotion behind their impulsivity. I keep coming back to that. This person experiences like an emotion in the body. It's fiery. It's like maybe competition or something. It is an emotion, but they classify it as something else. And Therefore, they get confused, but they also never have to confront it. This person likes to keep themselves in a state of confusion so that they never have to confront it. This person also probably can't understand why. The Bayou, thank you so much for the super chat. This person also probably can't understand why you don't like them and like why their charm doesn't work on you and why you don't want to come back around. They don't understand the way that you see them. And every time that they do this weird, I'm trying to dance around it, I don't confront what needs to be confronted here, you think less and less of them. You feel like they're really messed up, you know? And like I'm saying this with a lot of empathy because I remember like it being in high school kind of feeling this way. And I knew that I wasn't messed up. But I'm empathetic. I could pick up that that's like what people would kind of think about me whenever I would get myself into a situation where all of a sudden it couldn't be lighthearted and jovial anymore. I can remember that just so intensely. But I actually have quite a bit of humility and where I can, especially around my friends, where I can say, I don't know what to do here. I feel so awkward and uncomfortable. I can see that I've hurt your feelings. And my way of dealing with it is just to I'll just confessional, you know, like I'll just make a joke about it. And I know that that's not the right response. Just know that I do feel horrible and I don't know how to fix this. I've never been taught how to fix it. Tell me what to do and I'll do it. Like, you know, it's just, why can't this person even do something like that? You know, to start with, and then you can kind of dip your toe in. And then once your friends will, this is what happened to me. Like when my friends will start talking to me about it, it's like, I do understand that fully, but they had a much better feeling warmth. Oh my gosh, I wonder if that's them. I wonder if that's my friends from back in the day. And like, they were in my life to kind of help me with my emotional like path. Because, and I feel like, yeah, I kind of am getting that. Like, where when they started talking about their emotions, like I immediately understood it. Like I could relate to that. And they taught me how to be brave, like in the realm of emotions, and that I didn't have to feel awkward or like nervous. And I kind of, it rubbed off on me, and I kind of became that person in my family where I was like, I need a little more emotional depth from y'all around here. Cause you're fiery, but it's it's frigid, you know, it's giving frigid. Like, yeah. Oh, I'm so glad. So yeah. Okay, there's something here about like the Hierophant because I feel, okay, but notice like he's laughing and like very casual. And so I think this person, again, they want to come off very laughing and casual in this Hierophant way. This is like Taurus energy. It's earthy energy. And they might be comfortable in an earthy realm as well. So this is a person, I can just feel how annoyed you might be. Okay, because this is a person who might rest on like their earth energy of like, come to my earth realm where I provide everything. And it's controlling, but this person doesn't see it that way. Because Taurus, to me, it's like Garden of Eden. And the classic problem with the Garden of Eden is that all your needs are met, but you have this kind of controlling presence. And the control here that's not spoken is that we don't talk about emotions here. Okay, we laugh, but it's still a type of control. And this person doesn't understand that. They're like, we're laughing, we're playing ping pong. Okay, play fetch with the dog. Okay, there's a smorgasbord of fun activities. Why can't you be happy? And you're like, I don't know. You just like stabbed me in the stomach and then you wanted to take me to the park and I never really got the triage that I needed. And like, I haven't really felt right ever since. I think things have grown back in there that are like wrong, you know, like, sorry, I'm just like toy. We'll get that energy away. But like, you see what I'm saying? It's like, it's a compounding kind of a thing. And it's very frustrating because they need to go into the water realm with you and they won't. And you're also a safe person, but they're doing everything but that. And they want everything on their turf. They want to provide something here. Again, like with the gift thing, you know, where they're like, I just want to give you, I want to throw you a party and make it all better. I want to show you, I want to be the hostess with the mostest. So when you come and you remember that I'm a nice person and that I'm a kind person. I don't think that's what's on trial here. I just think that they're also unempathetic and they're not considerate. I think this person betrayed you. I think they hurt you in a type of way. And they want you to think that it's just because they're so social. Why can't they be social and not a betrayer at the same time? Walk and chew gum at the same time, a-hole. That's what I feel like. It's, you know, it's not impressive to me that you're just so social, but like God only knows when the floor is going to bottom out again over here because you lack empathy. You don't fold that in to, I don't think they do lack empathy. I think that they just keep themselves from it because they always want to do fun stuff. This charisma, they want a charisma at you and they want that to be an emotional connection, or they want to sex at you and all over you and they want that to be an emotional connection and they want it to like be better. And it's like, it's not. This person has to get into the water. And I think this person can actually match you. And that might be what's so frustrating. You know they could be this King of Cups. Male or female, you know this person could be this King of Cups. You know they could be emotionally balanced. You know, and that would also bring a lot of healing to their life. And it's a gift. Really, this horrible thing that happened between the two of you, it's meant to be kind of like a gift because it's meant to be the thing that like gets this person to pay attention to their emotional realm so that they don't keep gashing people and like creating fault lines. And then I think this person maybe has lost other relationships like this because they don't know how to deal. And on the one hand, you can have empathy because it's like clearly they don't have the skills, the water skills, but like seek them out. Okay. For some of you, this person might be meditating. They may actually have like taken your advice or something, because I don't know I don't know what the timeline is here, because remember this one at the beginning, it's like this is unfolded in like times where like as soon as something happened here, then yeah, I think you were in this like very anxious energy, but then you process through it because you are much more emotional. Like this person, I think they just have this image in their mind of emotional being emotional, like just all over the place. You can be emotional, but like in balance with your emotions, and you very much are. I think that you know how to manage like your inner landscape in a way that this person can't appreciate. And so they think, I actually think if they have an emotional conversation with you, you're very mature and you're actually like, you're not going to emotional. Maybe this person, I don't know that they've been around like emotional people so much as they've been around people who make fun of emotional people, you know? And so, but they've never seen a person like you. Whereas if they have seen this and they had an opportunity, they have one to engage with somebody like you who is mature in their emotional space and who processes their emotions efficiently and well, they would want to be like you. It would be like, oh, it would be this entire epiphany. And that's what it's meant to do. And if you've had to move away from this person, it's probably one of the biggest heartbreaks of your life, because you know this person can match you. You know they've got the capability. They just kind of like refuse. It's this functioning dysfunction. It feels like we're just never going to talk about this, are we? Wow. I think like the longer this has gone on, it's like, oh my gosh, because you might have confused the sociability and the giving nature of this person. That's not emotional. It's nice things, but it's not emotional. Right? They have this casual giving kind of nature. They maybe uphold some kind of moral tradition. They're very charismatic, but it's not emotional, is it? It's not emotional. They don't have an emotional depth. They're not empathetic in a way that you need them to be. Yeah, and it just like kind of keeps things a bit like separate here in a way that they're not meant to be. There's no responsibility, and so you packed up your shit and left. That's what I'm getting. Because you're at some point, you're like, I have to take responsibility for my well-being. In the metaphor we've been using, it's like, I'm going to the emergency room. You know, like, yeah, this has been painful. You had to make a painful decision here. This person, I think, feels like you betrayed them. They can't look at the emotions of it. This is so weird to me. They refuse to, because that's where the clarity would come in, where they'd be like, I'm a jerk. Of course they did that. Of course they did. I left them no other choice. That's really what happened here. But because you don't want to play with them, and because you don't want to have sex with them and call that empathy and making amends, then they think that you betrayed the relationship. You were the one that made the decision. In reality, they made the decision by not showing up to your relationship. And they just forced you. This is a person who forced you to make the decision and then scapegoated you. Yeah. There's no responsibility here. You view this as a betrayal. They're seeing you in these moves, but they can't quite process it. Yeah, because Spirit's trying to get through to them. Spirit's trying to like work on them. They're at conflict with themselves. I think there might be a lot of conflict and a lot of strife in this person's life where they feel defensive. Maybe they're seeing, I don't think the party's fun. You know what I'm saying? I don't think the party that they're like, oh, I don't think it's fun anymore. Because why would it be? Anybody who has any emotional intelligence isn't at the party. Or they're not close enough to betray these people because there wasn't a pact. It feels like there was some kind of, you and this person, there is a water connection. Like you love each other. Whoever this is, family, lover, partner, whatever, you love each other. It's soft between the two of you. That requires a certain level of upkeep, but it will add a lot of enrichment to your life and to sex. If this person wants to just have fire sex, if that's good for them, then imagine fire water sex. That's very steamy. But this person, all of a sudden the party's not fun. All of a sudden this person feels like, and maybe they're seeing you have fun with other people, but you don't want to have fun with them because they're just not a safe person. This is a person who can't admit that they're not a safe person. Yeah, and maybe there's, they came up short in the past. This person's feeling defensive about it. Yeah. It could even be that they've seen you get with somebody here, maybe at a party that's not great. And I don't think that you were in love with this person or anything. I think this is like some kind of manipulator, somebody who like took advantage, or somebody that, I don't know. And this person feels defensive about it. There's something that it's the party thing that this person's like, I'm just going to show them that I'm a fun time. It's turned on them. It quickly made this person feel out in the cold. So either you didn't go to the party, they're having to realize that they really did come up short in your past relationship, that they were very strategic, that they had to control everything. This is a version of control. This person's little golden retriever act is a version of control. So it's not, and they don't understand like why you don't love a golden retriever, And you're like, the golden retriever is fine 98% of the time. But there are times when it's inappropriate to be the golden retriever, and you stumbled into one. Yeah, and you made me feel like shit. And you made me feel not worthy, and you made me feel on shaky ground. And you insisted that I put on a show for you. And I'm learning something different. So this is a spark where you're learning something different. I do think you had to move away from this person in order to do that. Yeah, you had to learn how to be independent here. Maybe some of you felt like you were putting up with this because you were scared to be on your own. But you've overcome that. And I feel like there's reciprocity coming in here. This is also, I used to pick up on this a lot more, where some of you might, like go to a different culture or something. Like, I'm just noticing like the different bracelets, but also like the different skin tones here. And it could be that you go somewhere else where people don't look like you necessarily, or where people have a different religion or something. And that, for some reason, I think you feel more comfortable there because it's not like triggering something, or I don't know, or there's at least one person like that. And it's because it's just different. It's just different than what you've been around. And you need that. It's like a triage. And the truth is like coming out, and it's not a mental truth. It's like an emotional truth. And that's what you've needed. This like, yeah. And this could be a platonic friend. This could be, it might well be a platonic friend. Like at first, while you're like kind of healing, this person's still trying to get your attention, and they think that you're just wanting to win because they look how fiery this is. They associate everything with fire. Everything is in the fire suit, which has to do with like competition and proving yourself and everything. This person's like, I just got to prove myself. And you're like, nobody's asking you to prove yourself. I'm asking you to like level with me, or like tell me why you made me cry. Because this person did something vicious, and it's stuffed in their shadow because they're like, I'm just the golden retriever. I'm just the fiery person. I'm just a good time. I'm casual. I uphold moral. No, they don't. Not all the time. And they did it to you. And they damn well know they did it to you as well. But this person feels like they shouldn't have to apologize to that because that's not who they really are. But they didn't tell you that that's not who they really are, and they didn't demonstrate to you that that's not who they really are. They didn't suck the poison out after they like stabbed you. And so you've closed down like some kind of cycle. Maybe there's like an authority here in the situation. It's cold between the two of you. There's some type of paradox that this person, you both, I think, were confronted with, which is, I love you so much, but I have to go. Like, and this person's now left confronting that. I feel like they're trying to assess it on the level of the mind, air energy. Just, we've seen air, we've seen fire, we've seen earth. Anything to dip their toe into the water. This person is pretty far along in their development too. You would be very confused by this person because I think this person's got everything but the water. And the water is what hurt you. And that's where you overlap with this person. Like, I'm not saying you don't overlap in the other ways. And maybe you had a lot of chemistry with this person for maybe a while too, because there's all this other, you connect earthy, you connect air, you connect fire, but you also connect water, and this person just won't meet you there. They do anything to avoid dipping their toe in the water. So they strategize around it. Look, this is water, but it's like confused, and they get sneaky with it. And it's like Scorpio, which is like invaded, ruled over by Mars, a fire planet. So they're trying to enter the water space with Mars, their fire planet, and it's like steaming, and it's like putting it out, and that's why they're confused. They didn't start with the Ace of Cups, and then go to the Two of Cups. They started with the Seven of Cups with the Mars in there, and so it's very confusing, and like in terms of options, and they've blown something. Like, I'm kind of getting the negative aspects of water here, where it's like they've blown some kind of fantasy out of proportion. This delusion, remember I kept saying this person's delusional? They've blown it out of proportion, and then they're like, I don't know how to navigate through, because they're trying to navigate it all. Water's not about that. Water is about resonance and feeling. I'm seeing from Chasing Liberty, which might be like the concept of like chasing freedom from like some kind of karmic cycle. But she says to like the main character guy, she's like, why can't you ever just say what you really feel? And he can't because he's undercover, and she doesn't know that. So maybe this person's undercover in some way and you don't know that. Let me just see. Yeah, like undercover in terms of like trying to win an argument, or This person has a developed Mars energy as well. Like they're good at strategy. They're good at fighting because that's all they do. For a golden retriever, they sure do a lot of fighting and a lot of competing. And you're calling them out on it. Like you're not even meaning to. You're just, your energy is calling them out on it because it's untenable. It's untenable. So anyways, this would be a very confusing relationship to try to sort through. Spirit just said yes. And it's unequitable, but also I feel like you're this person's favorite in some way because you do show up on all the levels and they don't know how to put into words the water stuff that you do for them. Like you make me feel safe. Your empathy, I feel like you empathize with me. I feel like you kind of know things about me without me having to, like, you're always soft. You're always tender. You're always considerate. The people in our family aren't considerate. The people in our friend group aren't really considerate the way that you're considerate. It's because you're developed in your water and this person is supposed to match you for that, but won't do it. And instead wants to just go party. And that's an even further of a betrayal. This is someone who could have betrayed you and then went off like on a joyride in some way. Went on a vacation, went to a party. There wasn't any grieving. They didn't look sad. You know, your parents ever tell you look like you mean it? Go apologize and look like you mean it. You know, like this person didn't do that. This person went out, woo! Because they wanted to win. It's about winning for this person. And I think that's why they project that onto you because they don't have any integration or knowledge or experience in like that watery element, which you're fully in. And otherwise, their tact would be much different. They'd be much quieter, I think, and they'd be much softer, and they'd be slower in their approach, and they would just sit next to you like quietly until you felt okay. Just allowing you to kind of sense around them. You know, it was kind of like that's the energy instead of like, let's go party, woo! Like, you know, no. So anyways, yeah, that's pile number 3. And I hope you figured out how this person felt about you or how they think you see them somewhere in all of that. Yeah. He went to Burning Man for 3 days. Yeah, that's the energy that I'm getting. I fucked up your shit. I betrayed you. And then I went to Burning Man for 3 days. Venus and Aries, Mars and Cancer person. Very confusing. Oh my gosh, I have a lot of that energy too. And it is very confusing because shit is in the wrong place. I'm nearing 40 and I've done a lot of work on that. And the energy in my chart's changed. But yeah, like changing anyway. It makes it easier to let them go when they're like that though. So thank you to them. It is because I think it just is what it is. And you can't force this person to change. And you can't force this person to want you bad enough to dip into their emotions. Thank you so much. Sun, Moon, and Aries. Okay, I'm just taking a little breather, and then I am going to pull general messages today because we haven't done that in a couple weeks, and then I am going to finish reading about the last kinds of abusers in the book, Why Does He Do That? Okay, actually, okay, so we'll compassion this pile. This person is like human. They do have emotions and stuff that they're trying to work through. Compassion. Deborah, thank you so much for the super chat. The story you told about your friends was so beautiful. I hope he experiences that. Yeah. And that's the other thing that I'll say. Like, I'm a Gemini, right? Like, Gemini's kind of, it's an air sign that kind of rules over friendship, you know, and like having discussions. And I've always felt comfortable in discussions with my friends. Like, I can talk about pretty much anything. And that's kind of been my saving grace in life, especially my friends, because I feel like they're my friends for a reason. Now, have I been burned with that? Absolutely. But when I was young, I just kind of didn't know any better. And so I would, you know, and I really would try to fix stuff. So I just kind of feel like there's nothing that we can't really talk about. And that was my saving grace. I think we all have kind of saving graces. Even if that's not yours, there's something where it's like, well, at least I always kind of can do this thing, you know, and that's kind of what will move the needle for me when I'm lost or when I'm stuck. If I don't have the answer, one of my friends might, or, you know, I like I said, I can have no shame, like around my friends. Like if I have a relationship with somebody, I can kind of have no shame and like no humility where I'll be like, I don't know, this is where I'm at. I know it's unglamorous and embarrassing, but this is where I'm at. So if you could throw me a rope or a bone or anything, I would really appreciate that. I found that book at the used bookstore. I'm excited to read it. Nice. I feel like this relationship is meant to show me this is what it looks like when someone who's capable of healing isn't willing to do it because they feel safer in their pain. Boom. Yeah. Gemini, Pisces, rising, Scorpio, moon. Nice. Okay. I think I'm just going to jump right into the general messages. I thought I needed more of a break than this, but I guess I don't. So, Spirit, what general messages? So this might not have to do with a theme if you're new around here. So what general messages do you have for us, Spirit? Can I just say, I just really love the chat. Because I do feel like we as much as you can with like people they've never met before, like on the internet, I feel like we all are kind of like processing through our stuff and like trying to share stuff together. And that is really brave. And I appreciate that. And I know like some people are like to stay quiet and stuff, like that's fine too. Like okay. Anyway, Spirit, general messages. What do you want to ring through? What is a general message that you have? Not happy trap. Huh. Pop the question. So closing this cycle, secret accounts. Okay. Something here is a trap. Okay, I don't feel like this is a marriage proposal, but I feel like there's some kind of question, like ask the question. Some kind of not happiness is a trap. There's some kind of karmic balance that needs to be ask the question. It's like you need to ask the question. And that will like close the cycle here, some kind of cycle, and it will like even out the scales. Hold on, let me just see like what is this like happy blocked secret accounts. So, okay. I can't tell which way this goes because I feel like you have somebody blocked here and they're trying to get around that blockage, which I find disturbing. Like you really should honor people's boundaries, but somebody here might be like not doing that. And, so something is like maybe a trap. Romance, massive regrets. Okay. Somebody has massive regrets. I feel like something here was like a trap. And maybe it led to a proposal. Somebody fell into a karmic trap with a person who I think is deeply unhappy, like in their soul unhappy. Not unhappy because this person has dicked them around and mistreated them in some way, but they're just unhappy because this person I think is also unhappy with them because they had to trap this person in something here. There's a karmic here that I think maybe some kind of trap, maybe a baby trap, I don't know, led to like a proposal. They got to close out this cycle here. Somebody's having massive regrets about a romance. Round and around, cycles, triggers, lessons. And notice this is water energy. Okay, so somebody here's just having massive regrets because they should have asked the question and they didn't because they were afraid because you were not happy with them. I don't know. Left you hanging. Yeah, they left you hanging, no closure, no contact, left on red. I also feel like whoever this karmic was maybe started a fight or something. It's like they should have left some kind of somebody here should have left a karmic energy on red. Because something here was like a trap. And it could have even been that they were like, I'm not happy with you, like, and then it was like it baited this person. They should have actually been closing the cycle here. And yeah, they were trying to get somewhere. Fake busy and true colors. They were trying to figure out what this person was like doing. I don't know if somebody set a trap for you where they asked some kind of a question. Maybe as a means. Okay, so be very careful because there could be a karmic from your past that wants to ask you some kind of question about like maybe you not being happy, but this person's also very angry, but they're angry because you've closed the cycle is what I'm getting. And so they want to trap you by asking some kind of question and to try to bait you in conversation. And again, maybe to see what you're doing is what I'm getting, to see what you're doing. And maybe to try to find your location or try to figure out where you sit. That could be a metaphor, but that could also be very physical. What is this? What's this general message, Spirit? Under pressure. Secret accounts. Cope. There's a lot of people that are involved in this, I feel like. Because there's somebody, I feel like there's like, it's coming across like a masculine energy that did something messed up. I think like kind of this is the general message is like to kind of piggyback off of pile number 3. And I'm kind of getting that, like, did something messed up, this like betrayal energy too, like a soulmate energy that closed the cycle, blocked them. They're not happy. He's trapped in his head about it. And I think there's like some kind of karmic trap with another, got caught out here with some kind of other karmic energy that he should have been closing the cycle with. There's massive regrets about that. Because I think that turned into a romance, if you will. There's not much love there. It's just all games and strategy, but it turned into, I think, some kind of proposal. It was like a trap. They should have been happy single and gone after their wish, but this is a karmic lesson. I think there's some coping energy. They were trying to cope, I think, by partying or like with drugs or alcohol, something like that. What is trying to come through in this general message, Spirit? Drinking, toxic lifestyle. Yeah. Living in the moment. This is the golden retriever energy. So this has gotten this person tripped up in some kind of trap and in some kind of karmic trap, some kind of toxic lifestyle with a person who's like very angry around them. Like, but they're angry because oh gosh. They're angry because they're not meant to be together, and they know it. They know that this person doesn't have like the water stuff is coming up. They know that this person doesn't have watery emotions towards them. They know that they don't love them. They know that it's not there. Your person, this masculine, I think, is the only person not acknowledging the water towards you. There's water energy towards you, and there's none over here for this other person, and they refuse to acknowledge the water energy in themselves because they're so busy saying, I'm a golden retriever. This person that they're with, I think in a relationship, to distract themselves, like while they're like from you. And maybe this was like they went out, partied, and fell into somebody's trap here. Well, this person is angry at them because they can sense that they don't love them. And they have a karmic lesson together because this person is like, why don't you love me? And this is some kind of weird toxic thing. Like, because I think this person feels like they weren't, it's like a desire to be chosen, and they never feel loved because of whatever went on in their background, like with their family. But they want to like kind of beat this person up, kind of, I don't know if there is violence in this situation, but they kind of want to beat this person up because it's like, why don't you love me? But it's like all the other stuff is there, so it's like, you just want to show me off. You just want to go around and have fun. You just want to keep things on a light, airy surface level and like seem like we have like the house and the home and stuff, but there's no actual love here. And they want that from this person, and they want this person to want them in the way that they want you. And they can, I don't know if they know you, but they know that this person like has those feelings towards you and like wants you, and they're angry. But so this is just it's fermented, and it's like a very angry person. This is a very toxic, angry person to be around. And they set traps for this person as well. And it's with some kind of toxic lifestyle that I think they have developed together, where they both just run from their problems with like quote unquote fun stuff. But this is the kind of people where it's not fun stuff. It's things that should be fun are like not fun, because they use it as this like band-aid kind of energy. But they do set traps for this person. They could have caught this person out like drinking, cheating, having a toxic lifestyle. Again, there's no love here. So there's not really loyalty here between the two of them. And this person is, I think they've tried to trap this person in some way in order to leverage the role. You've heard like play your, or live your soul, not your role. So these people are not living their soul in like that kind of watery realm. They're not doing that. And instead this is a person who wanted to force this masculine into a role. And then they beat this guy over the head with their role. And they're like, you're my boyfriend or my partner or my spouse, and you're supposed to love me, but you can't force these things. They have to be natural. And neither one of them cared about going into a marriage where it was built on love and it was built on actual emotions. They cared about distracting themselves. They cared about the way that things seem. They cared about being seen as the golden retriever and everything's just fun and casual. And then they got themselves in a deeply unfun, deeply not casual, very scorpionic, kind of, it seems very toxic, very abusive situation with a person. There's a lot of, I'm seeing like a fourth house energy where it's like starts off Libra, but then it turns to Scorpio. So it's like, it looks like everything's Libra, and it looks like these people have everything that they're like happy, but it's all mostly Scorpio here, where there's abuse, there's trauma, there's secrets, there's fighting, there's strategy. It's not what it looks like on the surface. And this person is just ashamed, guilt, embarrassed, and in the wrong. I think they've had to actually live out being just so deeply wrong. And they're hurting everyone because they've hurt you, they've hurt themselves. This other person is inflamed, is what I want to say, which is a type of hurt. Like it's fire over here. They're inflamed because they're not loved in this situation, and they do know it. On some level, they do know it, and they think that they can force this person into loving them. And that's just not how love works. These people don't know anything about water, and just like these things have to be like natural. They're not doing that. So instead they're just angry. Instead of leaving the situation to go, both of these people need to like heal and figure out where they go, figure out where they belong, but yeah. And this person, I feel like is feeling ashamed. It's blocked. They feel like they're a divine masculine, but that they had to have everything their way. And now they're the ones left feeling like shit. And they're thinking about the memories. And there's like this Jezebel energy. They're illuminated about this like Jezebel energy and the reckless schmegs energy. It was a trap. But this person doesn't want to look at traps. They don't want to look at anything but the fun stuff. And so that's exactly how you fall into someone's trap, I would imagine. Let me just see here. Yeah, no strings. They thought that something here was no strings. Well, they don't get to dictate that. This is a lesson in psychology, because I think this person just wants to take people at face value. I can relate to this as well. Like you want to, I know about psychology, not because I had like an interest in it, like growing up. I had to get myself out, and I feel like this person's the same way, where it's like baptism by fire, literally all this fire, baptism by fire, like welcome to hell. But this person, they want to say like, oh, there's no strings. We don't control other people. And other people have a Scorpio side to them. Things that they have a shadow, things that are repressed, things that are hidden. Because our shadow is the things that we know and we've learned don't get us anywhere. We know what we show the world. All of us have learned that. It's been our culture reinforces it, our family reinforces it. So you know how you're supposed to kind of come across, but it doesn't change the fact that you've got other traits here. And somebody here is like they want control or they want power or so all of that just plays out around this person constantly because they have to go into the water. They have to go into the scorpionic realm and figure out you can't actually trust people, can you? You can't trust people for face value. They may have a hidden motive. But this person's like, I don't want to think about people's hidden motives. I just want to be a golden retriever and have fun. But they keep themselves in a delusion with that. They're misusing that energy. And they've had to confront it because they're with somebody who I think they thought was, oh, yeah, you just want to have fun. You just want to be no strings attached too. But then, boom, they had this entire other strategic, and it's because their golden retriever nature is strategic towards you. It strategically kept you in the energy of betrayal and harm and hurt, and so that they can blame you. Oh, you don't want to have fun and you don't just want to have sex and make it all better, because that would hurt you. That would physically harm you again. And so they have to get real. This person just has to get real. Yeah. So they're in a love-hate situation. What they love is superficial about this person. I'm sorry. What they love is superficial about this person in this situation. They like the distraction, they like the surface level, and they like the maybe earthy stuff. There is some level of stability here. Maybe there's like an asset or something. That's what they love. But there's so much hate here because both of these people are, I just heard, driven by madness. They're not grounded. Neither both of these people are living in some kind of delusion. I think this masculine's more in a delusional state. This other person is more of like a forward motion, but like they're angry, but like their shadow is more like, it's like, why don't you love me? And it's like, it's just not natural here. And they need to go somewhere where it is natural, but then they're stuck because this person is kind of leading this person on, or because there's some, maybe like an obsession with the past. Like if this is a baby trap, it's like, you owe me. That's what it feels like. I put you in a role. Live your role, not your soul, is like the motto of this family. And I think that might be family curses that they both have to kind of deal with. And it's all like kind of bubbled up to the surface. And neither of them understand love. And I think they could love each other as friends from a long distance. They really shouldn't be around each other is kind of what I'm getting. But they really hate each other. But it's not, the other person kind of is the embodiment of like something that they've repressed, and they hate that. And so it's playing out in this relationship because they got themselves in a situation through their like lack. They've got themselves in a situation they don't want to be in and that they hate. And something here that plays out that they hate. But again, like there's a lot of just distraction, superficiality here, a lot of ignoring of the water. The same stuff that was going on in your relationship, I ignore the water, is going on over here. Yeah, you're turning your back. Anything else? Love, hate, and shady. This partner is real shady. But they had to be involved with someone like that because they need an incentive. Like this soul, I think it's a masculine here, but take it however it resonates. This soul needs an incentive to continue their journey. They've got the earth, they've got a lot of earth down, they've got a lot of air down, they've got a lot of fire down. They don't have any water down. They need an incentive to get into the water. And boy, they got one, because they're with a real shark. This person is not at all what they seem. This person's very aggressive, and this person just walked right into their trap because they couldn't fathom that this person had a trap. They're like, I'm over here with no strings attached, just doing fun stuff. And it's not allowed because of what they did over here. It's kind of been decreed that this person needs to dig into their scorpionic space. They could have done it with you, where there is love there. So when they dig in, when they start getting into the water, it's like, ooh, this is what love feels like. This is so nice. Like it could have been that, but instead it's this crazy making, and they're having to confront the fact that their partner is a real shark, maybe chased them, maybe had some kind of like, it feels like an old vendetta. And I think that might be past lives. This person like had it out for them from like a past life or something, because they've been chasing them. It's like a stalking of the prey here. And I don't think this person can quite, they're like, it's just casual. It's just, no, this is very strategic. And I think they're kind of just like angry. And it could be that they're angry at their family because they're like, why am I not seen like this or like that? And so if I attach myself to this person, then I'll be seen like this or like that. But there's an anger here, and it plays out. And both of them are just extremely, extremely angry. But I think at the end of the day, your person, or like this masculine energy here, will play your role. They're going to be the person hurt in this, and they're going to be flabbergasted at like this person being so strategic and so betraying. And this person is going to be the one shouting like, you need to sort yourself out. Okay, because you're not at all the way that you come across. Meanwhile, it's like looking in the mirror. That's what you were saying to them. You need to sort yourself out. You're not at all the way that you come across. And it confused you because there's actually love there, which is worse. That's the worst pain. This person's with a fakey fake, and they do this fakey fake thing together, which is disturbing on a soul level. It's like a high pitched noise for anybody that is like at all intuitive. To be around these two is painful. And imagine if you were a little baby child in something like this. I don't have to imagine, because this was kind of the home that I grew up in. We're just having a tour digest like here today. But my family was kind of like this. It was all very superficial, and it seemed, but it was just this high pitched fucking noise, where you're like, something's not right here, I don't feel safe. This is uncomfortable, and they leave it for the children. And this becomes this family curse. They leave it for the children to have to kind of deal with, and then play out in the world. And then now I'm a golden retriever, and I don't pay attention to my emotions. And now I'm with an abuser, or somebody stalked me, or like, it's just keeps like spiraling out of control. But I think eventually your person's going to have to be like, oh my God, who are you? And what have I done? And what have I done? Like, that's just what have I done? Because it's not a solution to be casual and like, when the time calls for you to be serious. It's not a solution to run away, and you're not a golden retriever stabbing people in the stomach and running away from it. You're not a golden retriever. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, I'm seeing a golden retriever like covered in blood, and people are like, Granny, what big teeth you have. This person has to admit their own shadow. And I think they've manifested it. There's a real devil energy around this person. And I think it's a partner, but it could be, I think it's a partner. I think it's right up close and personal because the water energy is there, and they got to kind of kick that up. And I think dealing with this person, if they've got family issues where their family is like, and you have to be traditional, all that stuff's going to get kicked up. It would have gotten kicked up with you, where I think the two of you were like, I don't really want to do this, or I don't really want to do that. Do you want to go do this? Like, and it would have been, you guys have each other as a team, and you support each other, even if you don't always understand. It's not what's going on over here. Because this person may have to be like, I'm getting a divorce. Yeah, I know. Nobody in our family gets divorced, but guess what? I'm doing it because, ugh. Okay. The high-pitched noise. Oh my gosh. Light of love. My parents will never understand the reason why I don't want to get married is because I saw their marriage growing up. Yo. That's some heavy truth. Okay. So that was the general messages. And now we can move on to finishing up the last few kinds of abusers for those of you that are following along with us here. Let's see. Okay. So we left off with Rambo. Rambo was the last one that we did. So this is from, if you're just new to this, Why Does He Do That? Inside the Minds of Angry and Controlling Men by Lundy Bancroft. And Lundy Bancroft cataloged like several different kinds of abusers. Like, and he works with male abusers that abuse female victims, but it doesn't mean that there's not like overlap if that's not exactly like your case. And he says these categories, you might have dealt with somebody that fits neatly into one of these categories, but you also might notice that there's a mixture of like the categories and that there's a little bit from over there. And you also may have discovered like an entirely new category, because he worked in this field for like 30 years. But you're not going to maybe necessarily have like an exhaustive list of everything. You're going to get a lot of it. Like, I think he's like really got a lot of it. But anyway, so take that however it resonates. So the type of abuser that is the victim, which sounds a lot like victim, rescuer, persecutor, right? Life has been hard and unfair for the victim. To hear him tell it, his intelligence has been chronically underestimated. He has been burned by people he trusted, and his good intentions have been misunderstood. The victim appeals to a woman's compassion and desire to feel that she can make a difference in his life. He often tells persuasive and heart-rending stories about he was abused by his former partner, sometimes adding the tragic element that she is now restricting or preventing his contact with his children. He maneuvers the woman into hating his ex-partner and may succeed in enlisting her in a campaign of harassment, rumor spreading, or battling for custody. As a counselor of abusive men, I have dozens of times been in the position of interviewing a man's former partner and then speaking with the new one. The new partner usually speaks at length about what a wicked witch the woman before her was. I can't tell her what I know, much as I wish I could because of my responsibility to protect the confidentiality and safety of the former partner. All I can say is I always recommend whenever there are claims of emotional or physical abuse that women talk to each other directly and not just accept the man's denial. Women sometimes ask me, but what if a man I'm dating really was victimized by his former girlfriend? How can I tell the difference? There are some things to watch for. 1. If you listen carefully, you often can hear the difference between anger towards an ex-partner, which would not be worrisome in itself, and disrespect or contempt, which should raise warning flags. A man who has left a relationship with bitterness should nonetheless be able to talk about his ex-partner as a human being, with some understanding of what her side of the conflict was and some ways he might have contributed to what went wrong. If he speaks in degrading or superior ways about her or makes everything that went wrong in the relationship her fault, be careful because it's likely that he was the abusive one. 2. Try to get him to talk about his own conduct in the relationship, especially around the time of the breakup. If he blames his own behavior on her, that's a bad sign. 3. Be particularly careful with a man who claims to have been the victim of physical violence by a previous female partner. The great majority of men who make such claims are physical abusers. Ask him for as much detail as you can about the violent incidents and try to talk to her or seek out anyone who could give you a different perspective on what happened. Watch for warning signs of abusiveness. See Chapter 5. That's projection right there, right? 4. Pay attention to how he talks and thinks about abused women. A genuine male victim tends to feel sympathy for abused women and support their cause. The victim, on the other hand, often says that women exaggerate or fabricate their claims of abuse or insist that men are abused just as much as women are. The victim may adopt the language of abuse victims, claiming, for example, that his ex-partner was, quote, focused on power control, disrespected him, and always had to have her own way. In a few years, he will be using similar reality inversion language about you, unless, of course, you kowtow to him to his satisfaction. The victim is highly self-centered in relationships. Everything seems to revolve around his wounds, and he keeps himself at the center of attention. If you have children, he tries to get them to feel sorry for him as well. He seems forever to be telling you, you don't understand me, you don't appreciate me, you hold my mistakes over my head. Yet you sense the dynamic is actually the other way around. If you stand up to him about these distortions, he tells you that you're abusing him or says that you can't tolerate you just can't tolerate my standing up to your bullying. This recurring inversion of reality is similar to what happens with Mr. Sensitive, but without the introspective psychology, gentleman, or recovering alcoholic routines. If you leave him, you risk his seeking custody of your children, presenting himself to the court as the victim of your abuse, and all of your efforts to turn the children against him. Often the victim claims to be victimized not only by you, but also by his boss, his parents, the neighbors, his friends, and strangers on the street. Everyone is always wronging him, and he is always blameless. When the victim joins an abuser group, his story goes like this. I put up with my partner's mistreatment of me for years, and I never fought back or even tried to defend myself. But finally I couldn't take it anymore, and I started to give her back a little taste of what she was doing to me. So now I've been labeled abusive. Women are allowed to do those things and nobody cares, but as soon as a man does, he is a pariah. This line of reasoning many times develops into a discussion of how men are the victims of women overall in society because women run the world. This is a startling distortion given which gender actually dominates almost all legislatures, police departments, judgeships, businesses, and so on ad nauseum. When I point out this reality to the victim, he describes a kind of paranoid fantasy in which women are behind the scenes, secretly pulling the strings, largely by getting men to feel sorry for them. His capacity for turning things into their opposites in this way is a central cause of his abusiveness. If you are involved with the victim and want to escape his abuse, you may find that you feel guilty toward him despite his treatment towards you and have difficulty ending the relationship as a result. You may feel that because his life has been so hard, you are reluctant to add to his pain by abandoning him. You may worry that he won't take care of himself if you leave. and that he will wither away from depression, won't eat or sleep, or might even try to kill himself. The victim knows how to present himself as helpless and pathetic so that you will find it harder to take your own life back. The central attitudes driving the victim are, everybody has done me wrong, especially the women I've been involved with. Poor me. When you accuse me of being abusive, you are joining the parade of people who have been cruel and unfair to me. It proves that you're just like the rest. It's justifiable for me to do to you whatever I feel like you are doing to me, even to make it quite a bit worse to make sure you get the message. Women who complain of mistreatment by men, such as relationship abuse or sexual harassment, are anti-male and out for blood. I've had it so hard that I'm not responsible for my actions. Oh my gosh, I forgot to do bunny butt. We'll do this. Bunny butt, bunny butt, bunny butt. Sorry, I keep forgetting whenever I read the book. Okay, so the next one is the terrorist. This one is creepy. Okay, so the terrorist. I worked for a few months with an abused woman named Gloria, who was wondering how much longer she would be alive. Her husband, Gerald, would glare at her, drum his fingers methodically on the table, and say, "You have 6 months left. Things better shape up around here. 6 months." Her head would swim and her heart would race with fear, and she would plead with him to tell her exactly what he planned to do to her at the end of that period, and he would answer with maybe just a hint of a cold smile. Just wait and see. Just wait and see. 6 months, Gloria. Gerald had never laid a hand on Gloria in the 5 years they've been together, but she was terrified. She started working with me on making an escape plan to run away with their 2-year-old son. The terrorist tends to be both highly controlling and extremely demanding. His worst aspect, however, is that he frequently reminds his partner that he could physically rip her up to pieces or even kill her. He doesn't necessarily beat her. However, some abusers know how to terrorize their partners with threats, strange veiled statements, and bizarre behaviors. One of my violent clients cut an article out of the newspaper about a woman who had been murdered by her husband, and he taped it up on the refrigerator. Another man responded to his partner's announcement that she was leaving him by spilling the blood of an animal in the front of the house. Another client would take out his gun when he was angry at his partner, but would insist that he was just going to clean it and that it had nothing to do with her. Unlike most other abusers, the terrorist often seems to be sadistic. He gets enjoyment out of causing pain and fear and seems to find cruelty thrilling. He is likely to have been severely abused as a child, which generally is not true of other abusers. However, you cannot help him to heal. This may be difficult to accept, since the hopes of helping him overcome his problems may be what gets you through the terror of living with him. The terrorist's problems are much too deep for a partner to solve, as they involve a complex weave of serious psychological problems with the typical destructive nature of an abuser. You need to focus instead on getting yourself safe. The terrorist's top goal is to paralyze you with fear so that you won't dare think of leaving him or cheating on him. The great majority of abusers who make lethal threats against their partners never carry them out, but that still leaves many who do. The trauma of living with this kind of terror can be profound and can make it extremely difficult for you to think clearly about strategies for escaping to safety. However, most women do manage to get out. The first critical step is to seek confidential help as soon as possible. Begin by calling an abuse hotline as soon as you can safely. There are more suggestions in Chapter 9. When a woman does leave the terrorist, he may stalk or threaten her, and this dangerous harassment can continue for a long time. If the couple has children, he may attempt to get custody or unsupervised visitation so that he can terrorize or control her through the children. He may also use information he has about her, such as where she works or where her parents live, to track her and threaten her loved ones. It is essential that friends, relatives, courts, and communities understand the realities of these risks and give the woman the most complete support and protection possible, while simultaneously taking steps to hold the abuser accountable. It may be possible to stop the terrorist from escalating to murder, but only if he gets a strong message that stalking and threatening an ex-partner is unacceptable, and that he is responsible for his own actions, and that the community is prepared to jail him if his threatening behavior does not stop immediately. Actions short of these are often insufficient. Chapter 10 contains more information for a woman who is involved in a custody or visitation battle with an abuser for those who are concerned that one may start. The central attitudes driving the terrorists are, "You have no right to define me or leave me. Your life is in my hands. Women are evil and have to be kept terrorized to prevent that evil from coming forth. I would rather die than accept your right to independence. The children are one of the best tools I can use to make you fearful. Seeing you terrified is exciting and satisfying." There are silent terrorists too, yeah. The mentally ill or addicted abuser. This last category is not actually separate from the others. An abusive man of any of the aforementioned styles can also have a psychiatric or substance abuse problem, although the majority do not. Even when the mental illness or addiction is a factor, it's not the cause of a man's abuse of his partner, but it can contribute to the severity of his problem. So it's never the cause. And his resistance to change. When these additional problems are present, it is important to be aware of the following points. 1. Certain mental illnesses can increase the chance that an abuser will be dangerous and use physical violence. These include paranoia, severe depression, delusions or hallucinations, psychosis, obsessive compulsive disorder, antisocial personality disorder, also known as psychopathy or sociopathy. These psychiatric conditions also make it next to impossible for an abuser to change, at least until the mental illness has been brought under control through therapy and or medication, which can take years. Even if the mental illness is properly treated, his abusiveness won't necessarily change. I saw in the interview with Lundy Bancroft where he said there's like an inside joke in the abusive like counseling therapy that you can bring an abuser to therapy, but what you'll have at the end of it is a happy abuser. Somebody who is still an abuser, but somebody who is just happier in their own life, because you don't therapize abuse. You have to really try to get at the mentality behind it. He has to be told that he's not entitled to harming people. Okay, 2. An abuser's reaction to going off or on or off medication are unpredictable. A woman should take extra precautions for her safety at such time. Abusers tend to go off medication before long. I have a few clients who were consistent and responsible about taking their meds in the long term. They don't like the side effects, and they are too selfish to care about the implications of the mental illness for their partners or children. 3. The potential danger of a mentally ill abuser has to be assessed by looking at the severity of his psychiatric symptoms in combination with the severity of his abuse characteristics. Looking at his psychiatric symptoms alone can lead to underestimating how dangerous he is. 4. Antisocial personality disorder is present in only a small percentage of abusers, but can be important. Those who suffer from this condition lack a conscience and thus are repeatedly involved in behaviors that are harmful to others. Some signs of this condition include A. He started getting into illegal behavior when he was still a teenager. B. His dishonest or aggressive behavior involves situations unrelated to his partner rather than being restricted to her. C. He periodically gets into trouble at workplaces or in other contexts for stealing, threatening, or refusing to follow instructions and is likely to have a considerable criminal record by about age 30. Though the offenses may largely be minor ones. D. He is severely and chronically irresponsible in a way that disrupts the lives of others or creates danger. And E. He tends to cheat on women a lot, turn them against each other, and maintain shallow relationships with them. The psychopath's physical violence is not necessarily severe, contrary to the popular image, but he may be very dangerous nonetheless. Antisocial personality disorder is very difficult to change through therapy, and there is no effective medication for treating it. It is highly compatible with abusiveness towards women. 5. Those who suffer from narcissistic personality disorder have a highly distorted self-image. They are unable to accept that they might have faults and therefore are unable to imagine how other people perceive them. This condition is highly compatible with abusiveness, though it is present in only a small percentage of abusive men. Clues to the presence of this disorder include A. Your partner's self-centeredness is severe and it carries over into situations that don't involve you. B. He seems to relate everything back to himself. And C. He is outraged whenever anyone criticizes him and is incapable of considering that he could ever be anything other than kind and generous. This disorder is highly resistant to therapy and is not treatable with medication. The abuser with this disorder is not able to change substantially through an abuser program either, although he sometimes makes some minor improvements. 6. Many abusers who are not mentally ill want women to think that they are in order to avoid responsibility for their attitudes and behaviors. Substance abuse, like mental illness, does not cause partner abuse, but it can increase the risk of violence. Like the mentally ill abuser, the addicted abuser doesn't change unless he deals with his addiction, and even that is only the first step. Chapter 8 examines the role of substances in partner abuse. The attitudes driving the mentally ill or addicted batterer are the same as those of other abusers and will likely follow the pattern of one of the 9 styles described above. In addition, the following attitudes tend to be present. I am not responsible for my actions because of my psychological or substance problems. If you challenge me about my abusiveness, you are being mean to me, considering these other problems I have. It also shows that you don't understand my other problems. I'm not abusive, I'm just blank. Alcoholic, drug addicted, manic depressive, an adult child of alcoholics, or whatever his condition may be. If you challenge me, it will trigger my addiction or mental illness, and you'll be responsible for what I do. Although I have focused on emotionally abusive styles of these different kinds of abusers, any of them may also use physical violence, including SA. Although the terrorist and drill sergeant are especially likely to become dangerous, they are not the ones who may do They are not the only ones who may do so. Many abusers occasionally use physical violence or threats as a way to intimidate you when they feel that their power or control over you is slipping. Violence for them is a kind of trump card they use when their normal patterns of psychological abuse are not getting them the degree of control they feel entitled to. If you are concerned about how dangerous your partner might be, see the following chapters. Key points to remember. Tremendous variation exists amongst abusive styles. Your abusive partner may be a type I haven't encountered yet. An abuser may change so much from day to day that he couldn't belong to any type. This style of abuser is so unpredictable that his partner can never make sense out of what she's living with. An abuser of any type can have days when he turns loving, attentive, and thoughtful. At these times, you may feel that his problem has finally gone away and that the relationship will turn to its rosy beginning. However, abuse always comes back eventually unless the abuser has dealt with his abusiveness. And that's that. To know there are humans like this in this world. Yeah, and under patriarchy, a lot of people, and men in particular, are taught that style of thinking. That women especially are objects, other people are objects, that they're entitled to certain things, like just by being a man, and then they justify their behaviors. And it's like really difficult. And narcissism in our world is increasing, like with screen time and things like that. So it's just, we're creating this very combustible situation. And a lot of therapists, like Dr. Ramani is one of them, talks about this, has been sounding the alarm like before this was popular, about like we have a real problem on our hands when it comes to this. Yeah. Doesn't get better. It usually gets worse over years. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's all we have here. My voice is starting to go a little bit. I'm feeling kind of strained. So I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you for hanging out with me. We have From the Vault on Patreon tomorrow. So that's like an old reading that is going to be posted from back in the day. And I think that's what we got. So thanks for being here. You might be very tired. I am. I'm going to go eat some food too. So, all right. Thanks for being here with me, guys. And until I see you again, bye.